Well, hello and welcome everybody to the New Health Conversation, especially the censors. We want to let you know that we absolutely at the New Health Conversation stay within the community guidelines. Now, the reason we do that is because why we do it is because we want to follow the rules. But number two, we only quote from peer-reviewed human trial medical studies that are in the public domain, meaning our audience, they can see exactly what we're talking about. We don't make claims. We don't need to make claims. We rely on 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies on this new protocol, which we don't sell. There's nothing to buy on our website, and other medical proof. We've written 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the world. We've done over 1,500 live appearances around the world and appeared 20 times on public broadcasting. So everything that we share is absolutely medically proven. Great. Now, look at all the people that have already joined. J9 Free, Krabby, Smoothie. So again, what we're going to be focused on today is obviously that picture, which is not Photoshopped. It's not a diet. It's not about counting calories. It's the new scientific breakthrough. I know that sounds like a crazy word, but it's really true. It took the researchers who created this 40 years, 100 studies, thousands of people. They looked at every diet out there and figured out why diets are a huge failure, because they are. Do you know right now it's estimated that 2/3 of you, whatever diet you're on, according to Medicare, you're going to gain more weight than you lost. I mean, I don't want you to believe me. My name is Peter Greenlaw. I've been a nutritional researcher 23 years, 4 best-selling books, 20 shows on PBS, and 1,500 lectures around the world. For 22 of my 23 years in the medical world, that meant zero. None of it mattered. Why? Because there were no peer-reviewed human trial studies. Also, this protocol, there are no products. There's no product to buy, okay? And the thing is that's sad, I'm going to read to you from PubMed. PubMed is where they publish all the big medical studies. It's sort of like the library of medical studies, right? So what we're referring to here is direct from PubMed, talking about these companies with their products. And this was June 15, 2025, so about 10 days ago. There are no irrefutable peer-reviewed human trials on PubMed of any products that can broadly substantiate their claims of commercial detox products, toxin removal products, or weight loss products. None. Zero. We have 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. There's no products. This is based, believe it or not, on food and a scientific new way of eating that'll probably blow your mind. It'll make you happy. Look, we've solved most of the major issues, almost every major issue in the world's been solved with what? Science. From the wheel to when men first started to, make fire, to look at all these medical miracles. How are we talking on this thing today? I got no wires in here. We're going all over the world. So was it any wonder that eventually listen to this, everyone. We have 1 billion people worldwide clinically obese. This was at the Lancet, the biggest medical journal in the world. They published a study last year in 2024. And they say now that obesity is the leading form of malnutrition in the world. What we're going to share with you today will shock you. I hope it shocks the hell out of you, to be honest. Stop counting calories. That's not me saying that. There's the cover story, Harvard Medical School. Stop counting calories. What did they say? They went on to say the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. Well, that's what these researchers did, and they have nothing to do with Harvard. We're going to explain all of that to you in a moment, because I know all of you are already anxious. Get to the point, get to the point. No, you're not going to rush me. I'm a scientist, I'm a researcher. I want you to understand this is not a podcast. This is a medical, this is not an infomercial. It is a podcast. It's a medical podcast. And if you look right above her name, you can see it in blue. It's a free medical website you can go to. That's the actual website, the New Health Conversation. It's also the movement that I started. Don't you think we need a new health conversation? Listen, you have 80% of you overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic, and the latest projections from Johns Hopkins Medical School study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. That's in 4.5 years. 86% of you are going to be overweight or obese. What are you doing following these diets and these influences that don't have one shred of medical evidence? They're giving you opinions, and they're nice people, and I'm not going to disparage them. But how many of you would give anything to lose 20 pounds? And if you were honest, put it in the chat for me. How long would it take you to lose 20 pounds? Pick any diet, any exercise, any gym. I don't care what it is. And this is the least amount people are losing. I'm going to show you, and then I promise I'm going to go over exactly what did they discover. What can you do? There are no products. So don't put in the chat, what's the product? There's no products. This is food and 2 completely new scientifically proven ways of eating. You wouldn't think we need to get retaught how to eat, but obviously with 80% of you overweight and 50% obese and 50% pre-diabetic, we need to do something different because whatever the heck you're doing now ain't working, okay? So the next woman that I want to show, Julie, 35 pounds in 37 days, everybody. Look at the change in her body. Lots of people coming on. If I'm not saying hi to you, it's only because I'm concentrated right now on I just want to show you the before and afters. And then hopefully I'll Calsmus and Mimi and Tanya and Irene and Cash. I know I missed some people. I'm really sorry. Also, can you tap on that screen? Let's get some likes going if you like this content, all right? Now, the next picture you're going to think is a different woman. It's the daughter of a friend of mine. So I'm not photoshopping my friend's daughter, okay? How about 60 pounds in 3 months, everybody? 60 pounds in 3 months with no no one was allowed to, all these pictures I'm showing you, no one exercised. They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. This is science. See what's so exciting about this? Finally, science has given us the answer, not some celebrity or trainer or whatever giving us opinions. See, that's the problem. You see, it's a doctor recommended. Oh, well, this doctor invented this. They're not chemists. I mean, they're not chemists. And I saw one today again. Oh, they have scientifically proven ingredients for this. It's nonsense. It's marketing hype. This is the breakthrough you all have been waiting for. It took 40 years for the science to figure out why in the world is the world exploding? Why are 1 billion people worldwide clinically obese? Do you think it's because they're on Atkins or paleo or keto or Mediterranean or time-restricted eating or water fasting? None of it works. Why? Because it's totally wrong. The last picture I'm going to show you for right now is an older gentleman. Wait till you see this. You'll think, this is fake. There's no way it's real. No, it's real. Curtis, 40 pounds. 52 inches, everyone, in 30 days. And that's the least important part of it. Look at his blood work and lab work. It says it right there for you. A1C from 8.4 to 6.4 in a month. And triglycerides went from 242 to 124 in a month. Now are you interested? Now are you curious? We tell people all the time, weight loss is the least important part of this. For us, it's like the booby prize. No, you're going to lose the weight. You know what the most important thing to us is? Showing you how to keep it off for the rest of your life. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. That's what you should be excited about. But remember, this is not marketing hype. This is medical science. Nothing I'm sharing with you is my opinion. I don't want you to believe me. But my gosh, we've got 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies now in the biggest medical journals in the world, including a recent study in Nature Communications, the #1 medical journal in the world. It wasn't even about the weight loss. You know, it was about your gut health, called the microbiome. I'll read the study. It said, here's the title, right from Nature Communications, in case you want to look it up. Gut microbiome remodeling and metabolic profile improves drastically in response to protein pacing and intermittent nutritional fasting, which I'll explain to you in a minute. It's not fasting. Don't hear the word fasting and go crazy on me. It's not about water fasting. It's not about time-restricted eating. No, completely different. So let's start and explain to all of you, first of all, how many of you would be excited if you could lose 20 pounds? And how long would you give yourselves? So we got, who else is on here? Kay, Josiah, Sabina. What is it? Bomb. I'm going to tell you in a second. How did he do that? Okay, let's talk about her for a minute, because this is, by the way, this is kind of the averages. How many of you would be excited about losing 5 pounds a week with no exercise? And by the way, at the end of a month, they measured her. She lost no water weight. Instead of losing any lean muscle, which I'm going to explain to you in a moment is what happens to in every one of these diets and why they fail, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise. I know right away that's going to make a lot of you spin if you're working out and whatever, okay? But just because you have an opinion, it doesn't make it scientifically. I mean, people have been given opinions for 100 years about how to lose weight. How's it working? It's a complete disaster. So the researchers that created this, again, let me repeat, they're rated the top weight loss, nutrition, physiologists in the entire world. They've done 40 years of studies, 100 studies on every diet out there, because they don't invent diets. They were analyzing for medical science, right? But they figured out that every person every time lost weight initially. That sounds good. No, because 2/3 of the people that lost weight gained it all back. You all know what I'm talking about, the yo-yo effect. You thought it was your fault or the diet failed you. All diets fail you. All diets fail you in the long run. And I'll show you the medical proof. But let's get into it before you get too impatient with me and explain what they did. So the researchers, what they figured out was, I'd love for anybody to put in the chat to prove what I'm saying. Does anyone know the technical definition of a calorie? The medical definition. If you do, put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to explain to you. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. It doesn't count calories. It doesn't care about calories. When you're hungry, you're not hungry for calories. Okay? Epiphany number one. What is your body? How do we run? How come we're alive? Not because of calories. One principle. A minimum amount, again, not of calories, of nutrition. Everybody got that? When you go on a diet, what are you actually doing? You're lowering the amount of food you're consuming. Well, by definition, what else are you lowering? Nutrition. When your brain, which it does, it figures out, wait a minute, we're running out of fuel here. It panics, goes in starvation mode, and immediately stops accessing the fuel in your fat cells, which is what we're supposed to run on. But where does it get the fuel to run the brain, the kidney, the liver, the heart? From your muscles. All the studies will show you that whatever weight you're losing, 25 to 40% is lean muscle, because the brain is trying to survive, make us survive. But if that's not bad enough, slowing down your metabolism, do you know what else you slow down by going on these crazy diets and you think you lost weight and we won the day? Your immune system. Absolutely. You're slowing down your immune system by going on these diets. Yeah, you may be fat, you fit in your skinny jeans and you look good in your bikini, but what kind of weight did you lose? So the researchers said, wait a minute, here's what they did. Here's how this works. The researchers said, we are going to figure out a new way. So the first principle was they went and they identified foods, 30% of what she actually consumed or what you would buy. So it took all the money you spent last month at the grocery store. This month, if you do this, you're only going to spend 30% of that money at the grocery store, and you'll get a list of proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. Oh, that doesn't sound too cool. Well, it's important because they're not giving you calorie counts for those foods. They're giving you serving sizes. They've calculated this, not me. They're the top nutrition, weight loss physiologists in the world. Hell, they know what they're doing. But only 30% of what she consumed came from those foods from the grocery store. The other 70% didn't come from these researchers because they don't have any products. They don't sell anything. They're scientists. You don't buy anything from us. We don't have any products. You buy directly from these other researchers who for 20 years had been sounding the alarm saying, you know what, the food in North America continues to decline in terms of the amount of nutrition. So they went, these other researchers, in search for 20 years around the world. They went to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet in the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. Some of the nutrition they brought over were in areas where people are living to be 100 years old. I mean, I want to be taking whatever they're taking, right? So 30% of the food from the grocery store, you actually would get a grocery list, right? Boom, here it is. The other 70, oh, by the way, you can see right there above her head in blue, that's the free medical website. And anytime you can go there and see the medical proof. There's nothing to buy there. The New Health Conversation. Right above, notice it says free coaching. You get a free coach. The coach will send you the grocery list. Well, you'll have a real talk with them. They don't just text you or email you. You're going to talk to them if you want. And then they show you how to buy these other exotic foods from around the world that you can't buy at your grocery store. Okay, so that's 50% of it. Then they created this new eating patterns, plural. 5 days a week, you would eat 4 times a day. You start with these exotic foods from around the world that don't come from the United States. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods from around the world. You do that 5 days a week. It's called, now listen to me, it's called protein pacing. What's pacing mean? Aha, that's the pattern. It wasn't just that she was getting, so it wasn't like, okay, you can eat 1 meal a day and you get all this nutrition. It didn't work like that. They found that the only way to get the most out of this was to spread out the nutrition over the course of, let's say, 8, 10, 12 hours. And there were very specific intervals that she ate. 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, she did something, this is what's going to spin all of you out of control, called, listen to me carefully, intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time-restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store at all, zero food, only these exotic foods around the world. But listen to this, then she was eating them 8 times a day. Yeah, she was eating every hour and a half over 10, 12 hours, whatever it turned out to be. Look at the results. Do you know they had people doing this weigh 400 or 500 pounds? They're not hungry. Because you see, it's all distorted. You think you're hungry for calories. You're looking at the calorie count on there. No, your body has no, it's ridiculous. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. This calories in, calories out thing is nonsense, disproven. Finished it. Get it over out of your mind. It doesn't work. This works. And here's what it has. 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies in the biggest medical journals in the world proving it's safe. But let me tell you 2 other things that are the most important part of this. It's not a question, can we get to, look at, she lost 21 pounds in 30 days. Hello? I mean, how many of you would love to lose 20 pounds? I bet it wasn't in 30 days. The key is maintenance. That picture's 8 or 9 years old. She's kept the weight off now for 8 or 9 years. But the other critically important part that you probably have no idea about is this new medical syndrome that that's now out, that I have, you have, you can't avoid it. It's called TDOS. The T is for toxicity or toxins. The D is for nutritional deficiency. The O is for being overweight, and the S is for stress. It's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. They recognize it as a new medical syndrome. Oh, Peter Greenlaw, that's who discovered. Oh, by the way, that's me. I discovered this. What does it really mean? It means that we're breathing, drinking, eating chemicals. And as they come in the body, first they're presented to the liver. And once the liver can't handle it anymore, then the toxins, the body's last line of defense, your last line of defense is to take that chemical and stuff it inside your visceral fat. And that fat cell, like a balloon, reacts to the chemical, it expands. Don't let anybody tell you you're burning fat. It's a complete lie. You're born with a certain number of fat cells. You die with a certain number of fat cells. So think if you're going to the gym and you're burning fat, it's not true. But your fat cells can expand or contract. Look at her stomach on day 1, everybody. Look at her stomach on day 30. That's with no exercise, no gym, no saunas, no sit-ups, nothing. That is the proof, because the researchers, what did they do? They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving that this was what's called mobilizing the toxins out the body. They measured it. It's not an opinion on my part. I didn't do the studies. But that's why her stomach shrank so much. Or when you look at Curtis, an older gentleman, look at his stomach on day 1, everybody. And then look at it 30 days later. And he lost 40 pounds and 52 inches. Where's the loose skin? Or on my friend's daughter, look at her, 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face, look at her arms. Where's the loose skin around her body? She doesn't have any. And there's no surgery involved, no liposuction, etc. I should mention that. By the way, you can reduce fat. The only way you decrease the number of fat cells is either liposuction or through surgery, just to let you know. I mean, is this amazing? Are people commenting? We have 10 likes. 10. 10? That's it? If you like what you hear, if you don't like what you see, then go do Atkins, paleo, keto. None of these are going to work, of course. Just tap on that screen. Let's get some more likes going. And I'd love for anybody to comment, ask me a question, etc. Did everyone get a chance to hear the initial, what I talked about? Oh, Shaquette, thanks for the rose. I really appreciate that. Bomb, I see you're on there. I see Beth's on there. I see lots of people on there. Look, this is live, everybody. I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years. I've written 4 best-selling books and did 20 shows on PBS and 1,500. I've spoken in universities and hospitals. I've spoken even in China, okay? I'm not trying to impress you. That doesn't mean a darn thing. The only thing that should matter to you is the science is speaking to you. The science, not Peter Greenlaw. The science has no emotions, unlike me. It has no agenda. It has no prejudice. What are you all doing? Why are you going to tell us basically how to do it? Oh, you missed the explanation then, Divas Flu, Gina, and Mrs. P. I'm going to explain it to you right now, okay? So what they did, by the way, there are no products involved, just so you know, Divo. No products whatsoever. It's based on food. The researchers who created this, they're considered the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the entire world. They invented this. They had done 100 studies over 40 years looking at every diet out there and came to one conclusion. All diets were miserable failures in the long run. They never have any, well, 2/3 of the people ended up weighing more than what they started. So they based it on a new principle. And that was the researchers went and found foods with high levels of nutrition and smaller quantities of food. 30% of what you would consume, and she consumed, you'd buy at the grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But what was so different about what they did, they didn't give people calories to worry about. They gave them serving sizes. So if it was protein, how many ounces? If it was a carbohydrate, was it a third of a cup or a half a cup? It's all laid out. Nothing to guess. But only 30% of what you would consume in this you'd buy at your grocery store. The other 70%, and this was the key, came from other researchers who literally had gone around the world to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition but small quantities of food. So the researchers, who have no products to sell, so you don't buy from them, you don't buy from us, you either buy from the grocery store 30% of what you're going to buy, or you buy these exotic foods directly from these suppliers, and then we teach you how to do it. Because what they invented was a new way of eating based on something called protein pacing. What does that mean? It means it's not just that you get all the nutrition, it's how you get it over, let's say, about 10, 12 hours. So she was having 4 meals a day, 5 days a week. She started with these exotic foods. That was her breakfast. She actually had a snack like mid-morning. Then she had lunch from the grocery store. She had dinner from the grocery store, and a fourth meal after dinner, these exotic foods around the world. So they were spreading the nutrition out over, like I said, 8, 10, 12 hours. And that made all the difference. Because then 2 days a week, she did something, listen to this, intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted, nothing to do with fasting as you would think in your mind. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world, but this time she ate them 8 times a day. She was eating basically every hour and a half or 2 hours. There were people on this that weighed 400 pounds. They weren't hungry. See, the thing you've got to get over, don't stop this calorie counting. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. Do any of you even know what a calorie is? Your body, well, the reason the researchers did this, they knew that the problem with diets was pretty simple. You have a minimum amount of nutrition that you need in order to run all your organs. You go on these crazy diets, you reduce the amount of food. What else are you reducing? Nutrition. When your brain figures out there isn't enough nutrition, it immediately stops accessing the fuel in your fat cell and turns to your muscles for fuel. It's not up for debate. 25 to 40% of what you're losing on any diet is lean muscle mass. Haven't you seen the ads now on TV for the GLP-1s, for the shots? They're selling something to prevent you from losing lean muscle mass, with no proof, of course. It's just a product. Oh, you're going to take something, you're going to build lean muscle. Really, where's your medical evidence? Do you understand that all the people here, they measured their water content, didn't go down, so it wasn't water weight. And instead of her losing any lean muscle, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. And look at her stomach area, how much it went down with no exercise. Why? Because she was detoxing. In case you didn't know it, we're living in an unbelievably toxic world, and you're all suffering from this condition called TDOS, toxicity driven by nutritional deficiency, overweight, and stress. It's a registered trademark U.S. patent, new medical condition. You all have it, including me. Oh, Peter Greenlaw, who's that? Oh, I guess that's me. I discovered it. But what does it really mean? It means that we're drinking, we're breathing, we're eating chemicals. And as they enter the body, once the liver can't deal with them, the body then takes the chemical and stuffs it in your fat cells. That's why you all complain to us, not just about how much weight you have, but how much fat you're carrying on your body. It's insane what's going on. But we've got the medical proof, and they did. In the medical studies, they proved that they did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis, proving that this protocol was detoxifying, was getting chemicals out of your body. That's why her stomach went down that much. Or you look at someone like Julie, who lost 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at how much she shrank. That's the detox effect. See, the main reason to do this is not to lose weight. That's the booby prize. We know that's going to happen. But understand, you're massively limiting your health potential because you're storing these chemicals inside you every day. You're breathing, drinking, eating. Did you all see the thing from, I guess it was 6 weeks ago now? They're finding microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries. Wake up, world. Wake up, because this is going all over the world. It's worldwide crisis. And what do we keep doing? Calories in, calories out, keto, paleo, Mediterranean, fasting, water fasting, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Noom, Zoom, Boom, South Beach Diet, whatever. Do you understand none of it's working? Okay, go to the beach today. Go to the lake. Look at America. Look what's happening to us. It's not your fault. You have the wrong approach. I know people get mad at me because they get really animated and stuff. Because this is somebody has to be your advocate. Somebody has to scream and say, what? Let's stop the madness, because this is madness. Johns Hopkins Medical School. Listen to this. Study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese. What are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? Counting calories, thinking paleo, keto, any of them are going to work long term. It's all marketing. There's no medical proof. None, zero, that they work long term. And 2/3 of you, this is Medicare. Okay, you don't have to believe me. Let's talk about diets. Medicare just finished a huge study titled Medicare's Search for Effective Obesity Treatments. Diets are not the answer. That's Medicare saying that, everybody, not me. And they went on to say, our Medicare researchers reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether any diet, including calorie restriction, is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. What are you doing, everybody? Seriously. Now, you may think I'm crazy, and I may make you mad, and I may think you can tell me that I'm full. I'm not full of it, because we're relying just on peer-reviewed human trial studies. And more importantly, this just came out on June 9th of this year. I coached these two women. The daughter is a nurse. She lost 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom, she's 80. She lost 90 pounds in 9 months, and they've kept it off for 3 years. You think you get on the cover? This is the #1 women's magazine in the world. It's a news story for them. Look, over 50 protein miracle. I don't know if you can read it. I'm going to bring it up closer to you. Get my hand out of the way. Powerful new eating pattern can take weight off faster than anything else you've tried. Count calories. Do whatever you want to do. Do the shot. We're not even against the shot. But speaking of the shots, let's give you some information. So people, what is the book called? Oh, this book, you mean TDOS syndrome, but you can't buy it. We don't have any books for sale on my website. You can Google me if you want and find it. We're not here to sell you books. We're here to give you a solution that could change the rest of your life, right? So how I know now, you know it's fake. Let me tell you why that's one of the most idiotic statements you've ever made. If you know anything about science, you know that peer-reviewed human trial studies are irrefutable evidence. Irrefutable. They've already been reviewed, not by you, by the top medical and researchers in the entire world. So for you to say something like that is just completely outrageous. Fake. In the Obesity Journal, in Frontiers in Physiology, in Nutrients, in the Nutrition Journal, Frontiers in Nutrition, and Nature Communications, which is the #1 medical journal in the world. So what planet are you living on? What planet? So count calories. Do your nonsense. You'll lose weight and gain it all back, okay? I'm not going to waste any time with you, because that's the most idiotic statement I've ever heard, okay? Let's keep going. The book. Who else? I am on the go. See? Caden Murphy. There she goes. Hey, what's the plan, or how do we start losing weight? Okay, do you see right there, Claudia, right above her head in blue, the New Health Conversation? It's a free medical website for you to go to. If you go there, we won't contact you. But the idea to go there is to get a coach for free once you've seen the medical proof, okay? It's absolutely. So Caden, yes, that is actually I have a partner that he runs that whole organization. It's wonderful. Yeah, you're losing, she's talking about, she's losing 1.5 pounds a day on this protocol. Okay, who else? So who else would like to ask me a question? Now, let me go back and explain to you all how this works. So it was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. So all of you know this, okay? And I'm gonna explain exactly what they did. So rather than, they'd done 100 studies over 40 years thousands of people on every diet out there. So these researchers are the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world, the #1, right? What they ended up doing is they figured out why diets don't work, and it was really pretty simple. It had nothing to do with counting calories, which you're all doing on all these ridiculous diets. What it had to do with is the body works on one principle. What keeps us alive is a minimum amount, not of calories, but nutrition. When you go on a diet, what you're doing is you're lowering the amount of food you're consuming, and at the same time, you're lowering nutrition. From a metabolic standpoint of view, when the brain figures out there isn't enough nutrition, it stops accessing the fuel inside your fat cell and turns to your muscles for fuel. It's not up for debate, everybody. When that happens, your brain, that's so inefficient, not only does it slow down your metabolism, you all have experienced it. You lost the weight, and then it slowed, and then you plateaued, and then you quit the diet, you came off the diet, and you gain everything back. We all know that's happening. But you probably didn't know that one of the most unhealthy things you could ever do to yourself by losing these diets and losing lean muscle, you slow down your own immune system. You're literally making yourself unhealthy by going on these diets, by counting calories and losing lean muscle. In her case, not only did she lose 21 pounds and 38 inches in a month, but in a month's time, they measured, instead of her losing any water or any lean muscle, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise. And you've got to understand, it's in the medical studies. It's not an opinion on my part. Oh, it's fake. Really? No, you're fake. You're probably a bot. It's just ridiculous when people make these ridiculous statements like that. That's the key. For 22 years, yes, we had anecdotal evidence. It didn't mean a damn thing. Now, with these 10 peer-reviewed human trials, it's changing the world. Medical doctors, PAs, RNs, everybody's flocking to this if they find out about it, because, people are losing like a pound a day. I'm stuck and have tried everything. Inga. Mark Campbell. Okay. Oh, thanks for we're getting some likes now. Please get some more likes on the screen. So let me explain to you, I was just starting to explain how it works, but let me go back and start over. This was invented. There are no products involved. There's no product here. You're going to find out it's food and 2 completely scientifically proven ways of eating. Wow, we don't need to. Yes, you do. You need to figure out a new way to eat. Because we're talking 4.5 years, 86% of America is going to be overweight or obese. In 4.5 years, do you think your diets are going to work? So what they did was real simple. If you think counting calories in, calories out is a way to lose weight, you're on a different planet. Because I've even got Harvard Medical School saying, stop counting calories. Let me read to you, and I'm going to explain how they did it. Here's Harvard saying, the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said it's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. That's what these researchers ultimately did, and they have nothing to do with Harvard. So what they did was this. They knew that after 40 years, 100 studies, thousands of people looking at every diet out there, no diet ever worked long-term, and 2/3 of people ended up weighing more than when they started. The fallacy was that they were concentrating on the wrong thing. Your body doesn't know what a calorie is. As a matter of fact, I'd love for anybody to put in the chat, what's the definition of a calorie, okay? You're counting calories, and the majority of you, I've had 7 people in a year on my podcast get the definition of a calorie right. I didn't know what calories were 24 years ago either, so don't feel bad. So what the researchers said was this. The key is this. Your body runs on only one thing, not calories, a minimum amount of nutrition. Does this make sense to everybody? Nutrition, not calories. When you go on a diet, think about what you're doing to yourself. You're reducing the quantity of your food and not taking into account, you're reducing the amount of nutrition. Now, in case you didn't know, our food in North America, even when it's organic and whole, is almost nutritionally bankrupt of nutrition. I don't know if you knew that or not. Cornell University did a study on spinach. On the iron levels in spinach from 1953 to 2020, they estimate the iron levels in spinach have decreased, you ready for this, everybody? By 4,300%. So don't give me this, I'm eating whole foods and I'm doing organic. 200 studies in organic, it's slightly better nutritionally than regular food, maybe 10 or 15%. It's less polluted, and that's why I eat organic food, not because of this huge difference in nutrition. You're kidding yourselves. So the researchers said, we're going to go and find a new way. We're going to only concentrate on foods with higher levels of nutrition in the food, not the quantity of the food itself. So they put together a grocery list. But only 30% of what she consumed in a month came from her grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of giving her calorie amounts, They give her serving sizes. Now remember, this was developed not by me. I had nothing to do with this. We're reporting the news in a sense to you, right? But these researchers, they put these lists together that were based on nutrition, not on calories, not on amounts, right? But the other 70%, which the researchers don't sell, they have no company, they're scientists, we don't sell you anything. You buy directly from these researchers who, listen to this, for 20 years recognized the food in North America was becoming all but nutritionally bankrupt. So they went around the world to areas in the world like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, and found huge amounts of OS food with huge amounts of nutrition, but very small quantities. Some of the nutrients came from areas in the world where people living to be over 100 years old. That's what I want. So 30% of what you would consume in this, you get from the grocery store. You get a grocery list. 70% from these exotic foods around the world. You also notice right above the website there in blue, the New Health Conversation, which you all can go to for free. In black, it says free coaching. Yes, the coaching's free. The coaches will get you the grocery list you take to the grocery store and show you how to buy directly from those suppliers, and they'll coach you the whole time for free, because the next part is really critical. You got the food now, but you don't have the recipe, let's just call it. So 5 days a week, what you would do, what she did, you'd have 4 meals a day. Yep. You'd start with these exotic foods in the morning, lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a fourth meal after dinner from these exotic foods. So don't get into this, well, no, I'm going to gain. No, you don't understand what you're talking about. These researchers figured out it's called protein pacing. What was critical was not all this nutrition. It was how it was spread out. They called it an eating pattern. Completely new. No one ever did anything like this before. So 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, again, something never tried before. They did intermittent nutritional fasting, but not fasting, not water fasting, not time-restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store at all, 0 food from the grocery, only these exotic foods around the world. But this time she ate, ready for the third one, 8 times a day. She was eating literally an hour and a half. Nobody was hungry. We had people who weighed 400 pounds, even to this day. People aren't hungry. It was so dramatic that in a month, yeah, type 2 diabetes would really help you. But let me finish. In a month, hunger came down 41%, everyone. And in 2 weeks, cravings were gone. But also, way beyond that, way beyond the weight loss, people's blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, all came down dramatically just in 30 days. And here was the big one that no diet has ever touched. All my critics never touched this. Inflammation, which is the underlying cause of every disease out there. And it's in the medical studies. The numbers, I'm not making anything up. It came down 25% in 30 days. This has never been seen. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, preventing any medical disease. Don't go down that road. We're not talking about that. This is not a substitute for allopathic medicine. At a minimum, this is in conjunction with. But when we're looking at within 4.5 years, 86% of America overweight, obese, and about 50% pre-diabetic, I think we need to do something different. I don't know what you're thinking about. My critics, they want to, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is a fake. No, it's not a fake. It's such nonsense. It's just rubbish, okay? Now, by the way, Christina, let me get back to you. This was invented by a diabetic chemist more than 25 years ago. Diabetics thrive let me show you. Let me show you Curtis. Older guy, look at that, Christina, 40 pounds, and look at his A1C. It went from 8.4 to 6.4 in a month, and his triglycerides 242 to 124. And I know this story that his medical doctors had to cut his meds by 50% in 30 days. But listen to this, for the first time in history, the need for insulin in him and the other diabetics, it went down 41% in 30 days. This has never been seen before. And we have the medical, but again, it's not a claim. It's in the medical studies. You can go see it for free at the website right here. Look, above her head in blue, the New Health Conversation. Go see the medical proof. It's there for you to see. The New Health Conversation. No spaces. Get to the point, please. Okay. Well, then get off the call. Real simple. Go count calories. You're not going to tell me on my own podcast, get to the point. I just went through the whole thing. I'm happy to do it, but don't threaten me. This is going to work. I'm a scientist. This isn't a bunch of crap, okay? You want to change your life or not? If you don't, go do paleo, keto, Mediterranean. Go on someone else's podcast where they're giving you opinions, but they have no facts. Get to the point. I just went through the whole thing. I'll do it one more time. and probably several more times. This was not based on dieting, calories, calorie counting, and no one was allowed to exercise. It's real complicated but simple. The researchers figured out that the problem with any diet and counting calories, the human body has no idea what a calorie is. It doesn't count calories. The only thing it cares about is one thing for us to be alive, and that's a minimum amount of nutrition. And when you go on a diet, the reason they all fail, because they do, you lower the amount of food, you lower the amount of nutrition, that triggers the starvation mode in the brain, and the brain will begin, it stops accessing your fat cells for fuel and turns your muscles into fuel, slowing down your metabolism, slowing down your immune system, okay? So what they did, they put together a grocery list. 30% of what you consume came from the grocery store: proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But unlike other diets where it was based on calorie counting, it was only based on serving sizes, because the researchers, what they wanted to do was they wanted to give people more nutrition in less food, okay? But the other 70%, and this is really how they accomplished it, came from other suppliers who'd been for 20 years gone around the world to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small, relatively small amounts of food. So now they had their formula. They were going to give people less food by volume or by bulk, but more nutrition. That was the theory. Okay, so they started out, everybody, 5 days a week, they gave her 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods around the world. She had lunch from the grocery store list. She had dinner from the grocery store list. She had a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic foods. That's called protein pacing, a completely new scientific approach to eating that was based on timing. So it wasn't like you had 2 meals a day and you got all the nutrition. That doesn't work. They spread it out over about 8 or 10 hours over the course of a day, and you'd actually get a schedule of when to eat, what to eat, no guesswork, okay? That's called protein pacing. 2 days a week, she did something called intermittent nutritional fasting. On those days, no food from the grocery, and it wasn't fasting. It wasn't water fasting. It wasn't time-restricted eating. On those days, although she had no food from the grocery store, she ate these exotic foods from around the world. This time, they let her eat 8 times a day. She was eating about every hour and a half. No one was hungry. Nobody reported hunger. And in a month's time, they proved that medically, that hunger came down 41% in a month. In 2 weeks, all people's cravings were gone. And in a month, blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides all came down dramatically. And they measured her lean muscle mass. With no exercise, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. And here was the big one, that no diet touches these two things. One, inflammation, which is the underlying cause of every disease out there that you all have, including my critics. Oh, hurry up, whatever. Well, really? You're not getting rid of inflammation in your body then. Go do on a diet. There's not one shred of evidence that a gram of inflammation is coming down except on this. It came down 25% in a month. Insulin, the diabetics, their need for insulin came down 41% in a month, and most of them, monitored by their doctors, cut their meds by 50%. This is not some simple, stupid diet. Here, we're going to give you some recipes and do this. No, this is changing the world. But here's the other big thing, which all my critics, everybody suffers from, including me, is this new medical syndrome. Every one of you have this. TDOS. T for toxicity, D for deficiency, O for being overweight, S is for stress. It's a registered trademark U.S. patent office. Peter Greenlaw. Oh, he discovered this? Oh, I guess that's me. But what does it really mean? It means that whether you know it or not, you're drinking, breathing, eating chemicals on a daily basis, and your body's taking that chemical and stuffing it inside your visceral fat. Look at her stomach on day 1. Look at her stomach on day 30 with no exercise. And she loses 21 pounds, and she lost 38 inches because she's shrinking. Let me show you Julie here, 35 pounds. Wait a minute. Let me show you the picture. 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at the change in her body. She shrank. What are you all doing? You're counting calories. It's a dead-end street. You're going to lose weight initially, but according to all the studies, here's another big study, why you shouldn't count calories. These are not my opinions. Our research has found that while counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict calories gain back more weight than they lost. No, I'm not rushing through this. This is life-changing. You want something simple, follow those influences on. They don't have one shred of medical evidence, not one shred, 0, compared to 10 published peer-reviewed medical studies in the biggest journals in the world. It's not my research. I don't have a dog in this hunt. I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years and written full best-selling books and appeared 20 times on PBS and 1,500 live lectures around the world. I'll tell you this, to be honest, for 22 of my 23 years, you know what that meant in the medical world? All that academia? Zero. Why? Because there were no peer-reviewed human trial studies. And a lot of you are, somebody came on and challenged me the other day about, this detox product that helps you lose weight or that is a detox. Really? Well, here's a report from PubMed, which is where all the medical studies get published, pretty much. It's the medical library for the world, right? So this was their response. As of June, now these are products for weight loss. This is not a product. What you're doing here is a completely new scientific, it's food, not a product, and it's a new way of consuming it, okay? So watch the difference. As of June 15, 2025, there are no irrefutable peer-reviewed trials in PubMed on any product that is broadly substantiating the claims of these commercial detox products, toxin removal, or weight loss, or health promotion. Zero, everybody, zero. What are you doing? You're chasing fairy dust. I'm going with the 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. I understand you're all struggling with this, and people get really mad at me because they want me to rush through it. I'm not rushing through anything. This could change your life like it changed hers, or my friend's daughter, April, 60 pounds in 3 months. Where's the loose skin? Unless you think it's a different woman, which people do, but it's not. I'm not going to Photoshop the daughter of my friend. I don't have to. The great thing about us, we rely on science. What has science given us, everybody? My God, longevity. Well, let's go way back. How about fire? That was science. How about the wheel? How about all these amazing... So is it any wonder that eventually, with the obesity crisis, 1 billion people now worldwide are clinically obese, not just overweight. Do you think somebody would maybe say whatever we're doing is not working? Because it's not. So don't try to tell me that you have some diet. I'm not going to argue that you probably lost weight on any of these diets, but it's not sustainable. I mean, I've got Medicare right here, everybody. Listen to this. These are not my opinions. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. The researchers from Medicare reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted and diets in general to assess whether any diet is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies show, this is from Medicare, not from me, the studies show that 2/3 of dieters regain more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. What are you all doing? Besides getting mad at me, maybe. Well, this guy's, he's full of it, or no, I'm not full of anything. We only rely on, peer-reviewed human trial studies, it's irrefutable evidence. It's already been, does everyone understand why a peer-reviewed human trial study is so important? Because what happens is the research, when they submit their research to the journals, if they're going to publish it, they don't review your data. They send it out to other world-class experts, medical doctors and researchers who have one job. You know what their job is? To discredit what you're proving. That's why no drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. I know they make mistakes sometimes, but it's the highest level of medical scrutiny. So ask yourself a question. If the diet you're on now, or the researcher that you're following, or the influencer, let's say that, because most of them aren't researchers, if what they had really did what they say, they'd want to have a peer-reviewed human trial study, because then it takes, and again, you can get mad at me, you can try and argue with me, but you're arguing with you're arguing with the highest level of medical scrutiny in the entire world. So let's see who else said, as someone who struggles with weight, it's all so overwhelming, and I have become jaded listening. Well, Jewel, the thing that I think is so amazing, you can go, first of all, Jewel, let me explain something to you, to all of you. I didn't even tell you that. So 30%, Jewel, of the food you buy is from the grocery store. The other 70% that you buy directly from these researchers, those researchers, they'll give you 100% of your money back in the first 30 days. So where's your risk? Any diet you've ever been on where they give you 100% money back guarantee? Now, because nothing's 100%, of course, but it's so rare. I mean, do you think, wait a minute, do you think she wants a refund? Jewel, do you think she wants a refund? No, of course not. So who else would like to ask me a question, make a comment, get mad at me, give me hate mail, whatever it is? What I think is so interesting is that people always want to challenge me And really what they're challenging is medical science and medical proof. It's like arguing that the world is flat. Well, 550 years ago, all the smartest people in the world were telling you the world's flat. Now what are they all telling you? Calories in, calories out, energy reduction, diet and exercise, 10,000 steps, drink more water. None of it's working. This is the secret. This is the answer. This is, look, right above our head, and it's free to go there, the New Health Conversation, and you get a free coach. Hello? And that coach, they're going to coach you the whole time. You know what the key to this is, Jewel? It's not losing the weight. It's teaching you how to keep it off. Jewel, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. No, it has nothing to do. Abdul, did you just come on? This is not a diet. It has nothing to do with dieting. See, there's the first problem right there. The only thing your body cares about is not calories, is nutrition. And the problem is, Abdel or anybody else, is when you go on a diet, you're reducing the amount of food you're consuming and you're reducing nutrition. So the reason this worked is the researchers figured that out after 100 studies over 40 years and determined that all the diets they'd studied all failed in the long run. All of them failed, meaning the people, well, 2/3 gained more weight than they lost. And when they measured their lean muscle mass across all these diets, 25 to 40% was lean muscle mass. That's what you're losing on these diets, whether you know it or not. Now, lest you think I'm making things up, let's go and take a look at the, I've got it here somewhere. Let's talk about the shots. Let me say something. I'm not against the shots, the GLP-1s. They're helping diabetics and they're people that are morbidly obese. But this is the New England Journal of Medicine. What's cool about what we do, you can go and look it up in the public domain. Okay, so there's nothing I'm hiding from you. The Journal of the New England Medicine, once weekly, semaglutide in adults and overweight obese, right? Or obesity, sorry. This was a 68-week study. Now you be the judge. After 68 weeks, the weight loss, it's right in the study, was 32 pounds. And of the 32 pounds people lost, 40% was lean muscle mass. This is New England Journal of Medicine. This isn't me saying that. And then they said, this is clinically relevant reduction in body weight. Really? She lost 21 pounds in a month. And Curtis, he didn't get the memo because Curtis lost 40 pounds in a month, not 68 weeks to lose 32 pounds. Do you know what's, I mean, they just told you 40%. They're telling this is great. 40% of what these people lost is lean muscle mass. Talk to someone coming off the shots. They're gaining as much as a half a pound a day because all the shot is, it slows down the food moving through your digestive tract. So you're full long, you eat less. Code word, you're getting less nutrition. Do all of you understand this? I know I'm yelling and shouting and I'm crazy. It's okay. But I'm your advocate. My own mother, the reason I'm so damn passionate about this, many reasons. But probably the number one, my own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I loved her. I never knew her thin. I never knew her healthy. My mom did about every diet that there was. And 24 years ago, she called me up and said, you know, Peter, I have one wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything if I could spend one day thin. I said, wow, Mom, that's cool. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. My mom was 63 years old when she died. I'd love to be able to prevent I can't prevent anything, but at least I can make you aware of a complete different alternative. My mother literally, she went to I'd see her go to Weight Watchers and lose 4 ounces in a week and get a star and come home. We thought that was great. She did the grapefruit diet. She did the cabbage diet. She followed what Oprah was doing. She did she dieted the cabbage soup diet after diet. I'd see her lose 20, gain 25 back. Lose 25, gain 30 back. So yeah, I think I should be very passionate for all of you that it kind of leads you out of the dark. Do you all understand that whatever diet you're on now, 2/3 of you are going to gain more weight than you lost? And that may really piss you off about what I'm telling you. I'm sorry. Those are the medical facts. Here's another big study. The science behind why diets don't work. These are not my opinions, everybody. They said this. Our researchers reviewed more than 30 long-term studies showing that calorie-restricted diets cause weight gain. The more diets someone has tried, the more they weigh. So not only does calorie counting diets not work for long-term weight loss, but it's also associated with the increased risk of binge eating, eating disorders, and long-term weight gain. Every study is saying the same thing. Except now, these new peer-reviewed. He lost 40 pounds in a month. He's an older guy. Look at his blood work. His A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124. Are any of these influencers showing you stuff like that? Oh, you can lose 20 pounds in a month and it's all fat. Well, first, that's a big lie. You can't lose fat. You're born with a certain number of fat cells. You die with a certain number of fat cells. They expand or contract. So again, can we get some more likes? We only have 32 likes. Really? Oh, I'm wrong. We have 7,000. I'm kidding. Thank you all. This is resonating with all of you. So, because they didn't eat enough protein. No, Lisa, that has nothing to do with it. Jewel, no, my pleasure. But I'm going to explain to you, Lisa, M, Angel, by eating all nutritional food, you can lose weight. No, Angel, that's not what I'm saying at all. Okay? I am your, Jewel, I am, oh, really? Wow. Jewel, I loved my mother. She was 63 years old when she died. I went through fat shaming. I saw all of that through the course of my life. I didn't know I was going to end up being a nutritional researcher. And I'm not trying to brag to anybody. You maybe think, oh, this guy's brash and it's self-effacing. No, I want you to understand my academic journey. So I've written 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the world. I've done 20 shows on public broadcasting. I was interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America. I did over 1,500 lectures all over the world. I've spoken in universities and hospitals and towns. I mean, they had me 2 years in a row come to Autism One, the biggest autism conference in the world, where I was one of the keynote speakers, one of my greatest honors. I even went to China. But you've got to understand, for 22 of my 23 years, Jewel or anybody else, in the medical world, all I was talking about, all I was seeing meant zero. Why? No peer-reviewed human trial studies until now. These studies started, some of them were started in 2012, 13 years ago. That's how long some of these take. And the other reason that other diet won't do it, because when you submit, not me, but the research, when they submit to like the Obesity Journal decides if they're going to publish your work, they send it out to other world-class experts, medical doctors and researchers who have one job. You know what their job is? To discredit what you're proving, because the journal relies on their reputation. Like no drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. Thank goodness, right? So let's now talk about how they all did this, because I know a lot of you are excited about that, or you have misinformation. So let's go over the basics. Who invented this? Ranked the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They've worked with Navy SEALs and Green Berets and Olympians and NFL football players across the spectrum. What was interesting about this, they didn't let anybody exercise. What? No one exercised. Why? Because they didn't want exercise to be an outlier. Otherwise, you say, well, they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. So after 100 studies, after 40 years, all of you, listen to me carefully. The researchers they were analyzing diets. They didn't create anything, but they said something's wrong here. We need to be able to figure out something completely different, because no diet that they ever had studied ever did people lose weight and keep it off in the long run. So what they said, here's the fundamental flaw to all the diets that you're on. Listen carefully, because it's a little bit complicated. Your body doesn't give a damn about a calorie, doesn't know what a calorie is. Why you're counting calories is ridiculous. Your body, we're alive because of one principle. We have a minimum amount, not of calories, okay, of nutrition that we need in order for the brain to realize there's enough fuel to run all of our organs at their maximum efficiency. Our heart, our kidney. Why are so many of you exhausted? Because you don't have enough fuel. You don't have enough nutrition. It's not anything about calories. Let me just tell you that. So the researchers said, what we're going to do, the researchers, is because they don't have any products. They don't sell anything. They're scientists. They were looking for the answer for 40 years to obesity and health and weight loss. So what they calculated was this. They needed to figure out, can we find foods, which they felt they could, that were represented high levels of nutrition and still smaller quantities. So in essence, people were eating less food by volume, but more nutrition. Now, how did they do it? How would you do it? Well, first of all, you'd get a grocery list 30% of what you would eat or consume comes from your grocery store, but picked by these researchers who would give you a list of proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. Now stop right there. Nothing to do with calorie counting. What they gave to her and everybody else were serving sizes. Like, for example, if you're doing protein, how many ounces of protein? If you're doing carbohydrates, they weren't just simple carbohydrates. They were complex. Was it a third of a cup or a half a cup, whatever? It's all laid out. You don't have to guess. And the problem, the fallacy, people are saying, well, you mean you just eat nutrition? Well, let me explain something to you. Our food in North America is almost nutritionally bankrupt. In over 200 studies, I wrote about it in my first book called Why Diets Are Failing Us. In the studies, they compared organic to regular food. It was about 10 to 15% better nutritionally. But don't kid yourself. Even eating as well as you can, you're really in a nutritional deficit, okay? So the researchers did the best they could, pick 30, that's why they only let her eat 30% of the food for the United States organic. Here was the key to the whole thing. The other 70% of the food she consumed was not from the researchers and not from us, but from these other researchers who recognized that our food was becoming nutritionally bankrupt. So they, on their own, these other researchers, went to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet and the Himalayas, Nepal, South America, New Zealand, and found foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but smaller amounts of quantity. As a matter of fact, some of the foods or the nutrients they found, people were taking that were living to be 100 years old, and they didn't get sick. So that was their theory. 30% from the grocery store list, the list you'd get, and 70% from these, I call them exotic foods from around the world. Then, based on that, they invented 2 new scientific methods for eating food. What? We know how to eat food. No, you don't. You don't. What they did, they gave her 5 days a week. She had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods for breakfast. No food from the grocery store. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods from around the world. Now, the next part of it, it's called protein pacing. Notice the word pacing. So what it wasn't just that like she had, like, say, 2 big meals with nutrition. They started and spread the nutrition out over, let's say, 10 hours over the course of a day. There were people on this that weighed 400 pounds. They weren't hungry because we're never hungry. We're not hungry for calories. We're hungry for nutrition. So if you can satisfy your body's need for nutrition and enough nutrition that the brain is comfortable, that it doesn't have to burn your... See, that's what's happening to you on all these diets. When the brain senses there's not enough nutrition because you've lowered the food and lowered the nutrition, the brain freaks out, goes in starvation mode, and turns your muscles into fuel. It's not up for debate. 25 to 40% of what you're losing on any of these stupid diets is your lean muscle mass. Not my opinion. It's in the studies. And that slows down your metabolism and slows down your immune system. So literally, by being on these diets, by calories in, calories out, you're making yourself unhealthy. So 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, she did something. Wait till you hear this. Now, you're going to all freak out when I tell you this. She did something called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted. In those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world. But this time, she ate them 8 times a day. So she was eating about every hour and a half. Now, that may seem crazy to you, but my God, look at the results. And nobody was hungry, including people who weighed 400 pounds, because it was never based on quantity of food. It was never based on calories. It was based on nutritional density of the food she was consuming. And that's why using these foods from around the world made this work. Because they tried to do it with regular food, like giving people 100% organic food. It didn't work. And the key to this, and Lori, you sign up right there at the New Health Conference. Nothing to sign up for, by the way, Lori. It's free to go to the website, see the medical proof, and then get a coach for free if you want to do it. But let me finish. The key to this is 2 more things. Number 1, maintenance. I lost everyone 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Every person I'm showing you here, these pictures, about 8 or 9 years old, they all have kept their weight off for 8 or 9 years. That's one part of it. It's maintenance. It's called R2M, race to maintenance. That's what the researchers call it. But here's the other thing you really want to pay attention to, that no other diet has ever been proven to do this. We all suffer from this medical syndrome called TDOS. What's that stand for? T for toxins, D for nutritional deficiency, O for being overweight, S is for stress. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, and Peter Greenlaw, who's that? Oh, I guess that's me. I did discover it, okay? But what does it mean? It means that we're drinking, we're eating, we're breathing chemicals. If you don't think that, you're completely naive. Then you have not been paying attention. Go and Google microplastics in your brain. From 6 weeks ago, they're now detecting microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries. No diet's ever touched the toxin. It hasn't removed anything. These researchers did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving that this was doing what? Helping the body get rid of the chemicals we're storing inside of our fat. Look at her stomach on day one. Because what the body's doing to protect us when we ingest these chemicals that we can't avoid, the body takes that chemical and stuffs it in the fat cell, and the fat cell expands. Look at it, and then look at day 30 with no exercise. I know you all think I'm crazy, probably. I know, because I get all these weird comments about, oh, it's fake. He's a grifter. I can't even. I don't have enough time to respond, because here's the problem. They're trying to discount the highest level of medical scrutiny in the world. Not my opinion. So they're arguing with science, and they don't have any proof. They're just making an opinion. All of you could change your life by going to that website in blue, the New Health Conversation. You see it right above our head. But let me show you some of the other people. I mean, come on. Look at Julie, 35 pounds in 37 days. How many of you would like that? Or then we go to my friend's daughter. I didn't Photoshop this. How about 60 pounds in 3 months? I know a lot of people, why'd you get a different model in the same dress? We didn't do anything. It's the same woman. And she's kept it off for 60 pounds in 3 months, everybody. 60? Are you kidding me? And then Curtis, older guy, look at this, everybody. That's 10 pounds a week, 52.5 inches in 30 days. Look at his stomach. You think he held that in? That'd be a good trick. I understand you're all freaking out thinking this isn't real. No, it's absolutely real. And the thing that makes it even more real are the 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Who are you following? Please tell me, any of you. I'd love to know what influencers you're following that are showing you one shred of medical proof. Who would it be? I've never seen it. And with all due respect, I see medical doctors and chiropractors and dietitians and nutritionists and weight loss people, fitness people, weight loss coaches, health coaches. Why don't they have any medical proof? Because there isn't any. I mean, come on, everybody. I mean, my job is not to sell you or convince you of anything. It's to make you aware. But I'd love some comments about that. But look at the big part, his lab work. Look at his A1C went from 8.4 to 6.4. His triglycerides, 242 to 124 in 30 days. And they cut his meds by 50% in a month, his doctors, not the researchers. What are you all doing? You're hanging on to counting calories, really? What's the secret? How do you get the grocery list? Okay, so what's the secret? All right, so I'm going to explain it one more time, okay, to everybody? Number one, there are no products involved here at all. There's no products. Okay, let's start with that. Who invented it? The top weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world, who for 40 years, over 100 studies, they were paid to analyze all forms of diets, and they came to a conclusion. All diets are miserable failures. They never had, as a matter of fact, 2/3 of their people over the long run gained all their weight back and more. And up to 25 to 40% of all the weight that people lost across 100 studies, hundreds or thousands of people, the 25 to 40% of what they were losing was lean muscle mass. So they said, wait a minute, we are going to figure out something different. The fundamental principles will shock you. It sounds too simple. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. As a matter of fact, I'm still waiting for anybody to put the real medical definition of a calorie in here. In a year's time, I've had seven people that got the definition of a calorie correct, and yet you're all counting calories. It has nothing to do with counting calories. Your body runs on one principle, why we're alive, and that is on this. We have a minimum amount, not of calories, of nutrition that we need. All diets are based on, at the end of the day, you're reducing the amount of food you're consuming or parts of foods. Like keto, you're eliminating carbohydrates. Unhealthiest thing you could ever do, okay, by the way. So what they did, they figured out that what happens when you go on a diet, you reduce the amount of food, you reduce the amount of nutrition, your brain senses panic, starvation mode, and immediately stops letting you use the fuel inside your fat cell and turns to your muscles for fuel. It's not up for debate, everybody. That's what's happening. That's why you lose weight initially, and then it slows down, and then it's a trickle, and then pretty soon you're on a plateau, and no matter what you do, you can't. I know I'm talking to all of you. If you're honest, you know what I'm talking about. Then you come off the diet, you gain everything back, and you look for a new diet. The research has proved that over 40 years. They never found a diet where people were able to sustain the weight long term, or 2/3 gained more weight than they lost, and 25 to 40% on every diet, every pound they were losing was lean. 25 to 40% was lean muscle. So what did they do? This is how it works. They said, we need to find foods, we will do it, that have higher levels of nutrition and yet smaller quantities of food. So they gave her a grocery list, but only 30% of the food you or her would consume would come from your grocery store, all organic. They made the list of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But they didn't give her calorie counts. This is really important you get this point. They gave her serving sizes. So when it came to protein, how many ounces, okay? It was like when carbohydrates was a third or a half of a cup, and what kind of carbohydrates were they? It's all laid out. You get this list from your coaches. No one does this without a coach, and the coaching's free. Why would you do that? It's free. There's no gimmicks, no tricks. So that, but only 30% of what you consumed came from organic from the grocery store from your list. The other 70%, here's what made it work, came from other researchers, not the researchers who created this, they don't have any products, a company, they're scientists. These other researchers had gone around the world for 20 years finding foods in places like Russia and Mongolia and Tibet and South America, New Zealand. Now, why was that important? Because these foods had large amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. And some of the nutrients came from areas where people are living to be 100 years old or more. I kind of want that, right? So now they had the food groups, right? 30% from the grocery store list you would get, and 70%, by the way, you buy directly from those researchers. Now, let me tell you something else about the researchers. They're so confident it's going to work that, so if you took your food budget last month, because people always ask, oh my God, how expensive is it? You're probably going to spend about what you spend last month, total food bill. 30% you're going to give to your grocery store. The other 70% you're going to buy from these researchers. Those researchers, in the first 30 days, 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked. What? What? Yeah. If you go to our website, it says 100% money back guarantee. Now, only on the foods you're buying, I don't think your grocery store is going to give you a refund. Maybe they will. So you have no risk. You're eating a month's worth of food. Okay, let's start with that. Now you have the ingredients, but you don't have how do I do this? Okay, now watch this. 5 days a week they invented new ways of eating, to be quite honest with you. But based on these food groups, they couldn't do this 100% with regular food, even if it was organic. So 5 days a week, she actually had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods around the world. That was breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner, these foods. So don't give me this nonsense, oh, I can't eat 4 meals a day. You want to do this or not? You want to then go on a diet. You know what I'm saying? No, they don't work. This does. That's called protein pacing. What's protein pacing? 4 meals, 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. Now, here's what was critical. It wasn't just that she was getting all of this nutrition from these exotic foods around the world, that were most of the nutrition she was getting. It was when she was consuming it, the pattern. They call it the pattern of eating. And they spread it out over about 8, 10, 12 hours, depending on the person. You would get an actual schedule. The researchers put together what you would get. These are from the researchers, not from us. It's called the Blueprint for Success. Every one of these yellows here is actually a video explanation from the researchers. Even to the point where, someone was asking me, where do I get, okay, so right there you can read both the schedule, but more importantly right there, the food list. You get the actual food list. Now the squares you're seeing, those are daily videos from the researchers explaining to you that it's safe and this is how it works. Think of this in a sense like a nutritional prescription, only you don't need a prescription because everything is natural. This is going to change the world. I mean, unless you think some diet you're going to go on, you're going to lose 21 pounds and 38 inches in a month, and you're going to gain 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise allowed, right? So 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, now this is going to spin most of you out of control, but listen to me carefully, listen to the words. Intermittent, nutritional, notice the word nutritional, fasting. Not water fasting, not time-restricted eating, which is complete nonsense. On those days, no food from the grocery store did she or you would consume, only these exotic foods from around the world. But listen to this, you're going to eat 8 times a day. Yep. You're going to basically eat about every hour and a half. That's called, again, they're spacing out the nutrition. There were people who weighed 400 pounds. They weren't hungry. See, the whole concept of why you get hungry is because you're chasing calories. You miss the whole point. Your body doesn't know what a calorie is. Why are you counting calories? Because someone told you to. Sounds like a good concept, but it's complete and utter nonsense. It's dog water. It's garbage. I mean, are you trying to tell me that any of you think that this is a study from Johns Hopkins Medical School? Study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. 86% of Americans will be overweight or obese in 4.5 years. What are you all doing? You're doing paleo and keto and Mediterranean and carb recycling and Count My Macros and Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers and Nutrisystem and Noom and Zoom and the South Beach diet. None of them work. This is going to change the world. And the two things that are most important about this, number one, is maintenance. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. That's why you need a coach, because they'll teach you. By the way, maintenance is really simple. I have the exotic food. That's what I had this morning. The exotic foods around the world breakfast. I had lunch. I'm going to have another 2 normal meals. And then maybe once every couple months, I do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast, not to lose weight, because of the second reason. The second reason to do this, no diets ever touch this. This is a new medical syndrome that I have and you have and everybody on the planet called TDOS. What does it stand for? T for toxins or toxicity, D for nutritional deficiency of our food, O for being overweight, S is for stress. It's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office, meaning the Patent Office recognized it as a new medical condition that none of you even knew you had. Peter Greenlaw, who's that? Oh, I guess that's me. I did discover it. What they did in the studies, they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, and muscle analysis, of course, and proved that this, first and foremost, was assisting the body in removing the chemicals from the body. Because whether you know it or not, right now we're breathing in the chemicals from the coal-fired power plants in China, the mercury and the cadmium from like 2 weeks ago. We're ingesting herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard, and your body, once you can't avoid it. It's everywhere. As that enters your body, the body takes that chemical, presents it to our liver first. Do you know right now our livers are so overwhelmed with chemicals that they estimate 30% of you have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and that's not from drinking alcohol. Once the liver can't process any more chemicals, now the chemicals come in, because they're coming in 24/7, 365 days a year. The body takes that chemical, the toxin, and stuffs it inside your fat cell. Look at her stomach on day 1. Look at her stomach on day 30. That's what detox is doing. If you look at, for example, Julie, even more dramatic, look at her, how her whole body shrank. That's from the detox. In 37 days, she lost 35 pounds, almost a pound a day. We had someone on earlier, they're losing 1.5 pounds a day. We had a lady yesterday, she's 23 days in, she's lost 22 pounds in 23 days. Another lady was 4 days in, the 5th morning, she's down 12 pounds in 4 days. So when I'm showing you, like Kristen here, that's really kind of the least amount we expect is about 5 pounds a week. But how many of you would be excited about 5 pounds a week and then being able to keep it off for the rest of your life? Most women on this lose a whole dress size in the first 7 days with no exercise. Now, I know that sounds crazy. So let's dig. Well, Abdullah, I don't care what you think. No. Here's where you're wrong. I'm holding in my hand 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies proving exactly what I'm saying. So you can have whatever opinion you have, but you don't have anything to back it up. Sorry. You might be a nice person, but you're not a scientist. You're not a researcher. Okay, so don't try to give me that nonsense. All right. What about muscle mass? Elena, she gained. Are you ready for me? She gained 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise, Elena. Did you hear me? She gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. Now, understand, everybody in what you're looking at here, no one was allowed to exercise. You got it? So let's look at what happens if someone exercises, okay? Is that fair, Elena, or any of you, Mark, or anybody, right? How to get to the list through coaching. How to get to, well, you go to the website first, who's ever asked me that question, how to get to the list through coaching. You go to the website, look at all the medical proof. If you like it, then you get a free coach. The coach is free. You're not going to do this on your own. So don't think you have it figured out. Don't think you're going to just do this. We all got coached. It's free. The coaching's free. Why wouldn't you do that? If you could go to the gym today, and I pay my personal trainer, but if I could get him for free, that would be great. I know it's unreal. I know most of you are struggling with that. So let me show all of you what happens when you exercise. And this is exactly 11 days with someone who was a surfer, lives in Costa Rica, was already going to the gym every day and working out. Look at this, everyone, in 11 days. Day 1, pretty good shape. Look at day 5. That's the morning of day 5. So it's 4 days in. Look at the change in the stomach area. And then day 12, the morning of day 12, so 11 days, look at the change. That's the detox property of this. And look at the lean muscle gain that he's getting. The studies, listen to me, they proved with no exercise, people were gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. So obviously when people can lose weight, now I'll show you one other one. This is pretty amazing. This is, again, with exercise. So this picture and the next one are the only ones I'm showing you where people did exercise. Look at Brian, 50 pounds in 4 months. Look at the change in his body composition in 4 months. 50 pounds in 4 months, but look at the change in his body. It's the same person. It's not photoshopped, and it really is 4 months. So I'm going to support you in this. You're all trying to wrap your minds around trying to compare this with a diet and exercise, keto, paleo, Mediterranean. No, there's no comparison. There is no comparison. As a matter of fact, just to let you know, in this one big study that was done in the Obesity Journal, they took the Mediterranean diet. Many of you have heard of it. It's been voted the #1 diet 8 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. So one group of people they put on the Mediterranean diet. The other people, yeah, Abdullah, you don't have to be sorry. I'm supporting your skepticism, Abdullah. You got it? But listen to me, everybody. So let's come back to this. So the Mediterranean diet voted #1 diet out there. One group of people did that. The other group did this new R2M protocol. Listen to me carefully. The people that did the Mediterranean diet, Abdullah and everybody else. No, it's not a supplement. Absolutely not. No, it has, no, Mama, you're coming on. They weren't allowed to exercise. They wore Fitbits proving they didn't exercise. You got it? No, Elena, there's no supplements. There's no food. No, it's food. It's food, okay? And it's a new way of eating. I'll come back to that in a moment, but I want to deal with the biggest misconception. So, well, let me address that right now. So, Elena or Mama, did you hear my overall presentation of what they did? Because I'll repeat it for you. Don't think I'm being a pushback at all. This is for all of you to learn how to do this. Your questions are great. So, Elena or Mama or Elena said, no, I didn't. Okay, so let me explain to you what they did. So, first thing, no one was allowed to exercise. Do you both get that? No one allowed to exercise. Happy Saturday, everyone. Yes, exactly. So they were so restrictive, they made them wear Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. Okay. So for you all know, this is food. The researchers who created this are rated the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They'd done 40 years of research, 100 studies. They were paid to analyze pretty much every diet out there. The researchers. They don't have any products. They don't have a company. They're scientists, right? But after 40 years, they concluded this. There was never a diet that they studied ever in 40 years where not only didn't people just lose weight and keep it off, but 2/3 of people gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. And across the board, Mama or Elena, every person lost 25, the weight they were losing, whether it was 25, 30, 40 pounds, 25 to 40% was lean muscle mass. And these people were exercising, okay? So the researchers said there's a flaw here somewhere. So they were determined, because they were searching for the silver bullet for obesity, overweight, and health, right? For 40 years. But they don't have a company. They don't have any products. They're scientists. So what they figured was this. First of all, if you're counting calories on any diet, stop it immediately. It's total bull. Your human body has no idea what a calorie is. As a matter of fact, I'm still waiting. We've been on here for what? Well over an hour and a half. No one has given me the definition of a calorie, okay? So the researchers said that's so flawed. Your body runs not on calories because your body doesn't know what a calorie is. Why are you counting calories? Because someone told you to. No, your body runs on one principle: why we're alive. We need a minimum amount of nutrition in order to fuel the body. Now, how does the body get nutrition? From food. When you go on a diet, what you're really doing, you're reducing the quantity of the food you're consuming. What else are you reducing? Nutrition. Does this make sense to all of you? Not supplements. Food itself has nutrition. And anytime you can get nutrition from food, it's way better off than a supplement, a pill, lotion. No, that's all nonsense. They're all made in a laboratory. So the researchers, what they did, they said, we're going to concentrate not on calories, but on nutritional density of foods. We're going to pick only 30% of what she's going to get food from North America from proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. So they gave her a list. Now, instead of giving her the amount of calories, they give her serving sizes. This is going to be very important to you in a moment. You'll understand. So when it was like protein, it was how many ounces. When it was, say, fruits or let's say carbohydrates, it was what was the serving sizes. Again, nothing to do with calories. You all got that? But only 30% of what you consume. The other 70%, and here's what turned the corner, it came from other researchers who for more than 20 years, all of you, including Mama, etc., from regions of the world in Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, where in some cases, those regions, people are living to be 100 years old. And it represented food with huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. So now they had the ingredients, right? 30% from your grocery store, you get a grocery list. As a matter of fact, you can see it there right above free coaching. The coaching's free. They'll get you the grocery list. And they'll show you how to buy directly these exotic foods from around the world. So now they had what they thought was going to work. Then they created, listen to me, 2 completely new ways of eating. How people consumed, when, etc. So first of all, 5 days a week, you and her, you'd have 4 meals a day. Don't even go the diet route with me. Oh my God, we're going to gain weight by having 4 meals. No, you're not. Okay? Breakfast from these exotic foods, right? Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal, not optional, after your dinner. 5 days a week. That's called protein pacing. Now notice the word pacing. What they also determined was when she ate, and the intervals in between were the key. Because what they wanted to do, if they could, not just giving her all the nutrition that she needed in a day, but spread it out and create, see, in your body you have something called homeostasis. It's a fancy word for your body's in balance. So the brain, by spreading out that nutrition, was always cool. We got plenty of fuel to run the heart and the kidneys and your pancreas and all your organs in your body. They don't run on calories, everybody. Stop counting calories. It's the most ridiculous thing anybody's ever done. And yet, all of you, that's what you're doing on any of these stupid diets. But your brain only functions on nutrition. It doesn't know what a calorie is. So by spreading this nutrition out over 8-10 hours, nobody was hungry. As a matter of fact, there were people on this that weighed 400 pounds, and they're eating 4 meals a day. 2 days a week out of 7. So 5, you're having 4 meals a day, protein pacing. 2 days a week, you do something called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world. But listen to this, everybody. Then they had her eating 8 times a day. Did I misspeak? No. She was eating about every hour and a half. Again, they needed to be in a position where she was having very small quantities of food that had huge amounts of nutrition. And by spreading it out again, she never put the body into starvation mode. My God, they measured muscle and water. She lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle and was not allowed to exercise, even wore a Fitbit to prove she wasn't exercising. Now do you all get it? It's not supplements. It's food, but very specific foods. Now, I should also tell you the most important part about this is maintenance and detox. We'll talk about both of them right now. The key to this is not, can we get the weight off you? That's like the booby prize. The key is to teach you how to keep the weight off for the rest of your life. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. All the pictures I'm showing you, the people, they've kept it off for 8 or 9 years. She's not the only one. But now let's talk about detox for some of my new people. Me and you and every person in the world has this new medical syndrome, registered trademark U.S. Patent Office of a new medical condition. Syndrome. T for toxicity or toxins. D for nutritional deficiency that we just talked about. O for being overweight. S is for stress. What our body's doing, oh, Peter Greenlaw, who's that? Oh, I guess it's me. I did discover it. What we're doing, whether you know it or not, you're eating, drinking, and breathing chemicals. And as you ingest those, your body, once the liver can't deal with them anymore, is taking those chemicals and stuffing it inside your visceral fat. That's the fat around your organs. Look at her waist on day 1, everybody. Look at her waist on day 30. That's with no exercise, none, 0 exercise. They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. No, this is revolution. It's going to make every diet obsolete. I hope all of you will take advantage of the fact you can go to the New Health Conversation, see the medical proof for free. We won't contact you. We're not contacting you. Only when we'll contact you, you can scroll down and you get a free coach. I didn't even tell you the best part. So 30% of the food you're going to buy from your grocery store, I don't think they'll do this. But the other 70% of the money you're spending in a month to do this, those researchers, they'll give you 100% of your money back guarantee. You'll see if you go to the website, 100% money back guarantee. We don't sell you anything. We don't have anything to sell you. But come on. Now, let me be honest. Nothing's 100%, of course. But those researchers are so confident because, my God, wait a minute. Their nutrients were proven in 10, it's not supplements, it's not lotions, potions, pills. No, it's food and nutrients. I understand this is way out of your comfort zone, way out of you can't believe it. That's why we give you the option to go see the medical proof for free. Why wouldn't you do that? I'm just curious. Why wouldn't you do it? Unless you think I'm lying. Why would I lie to you? It's not my research. No, we're showing you the research. It just changed my life 23 years ago. I had some other big medical challenges. I mean, let's look at a couple more people here just to show you the power of this thing. No, it has nothing to do with that, Abdullah. That's why you need to get a coach, Abdullah, to explain all this to you. But let's take a look, for example, at Julie, everybody. How about 35 pounds in 37 days with no exercise? Look at the change in her body composition, right? Oh, it helps tremendously with menopause. Oh my God. Elena, unbelievable with menopause. Hot flashes, night sweats, irritability, sleeping better at night. Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Just give up on junk food and eat right. Lisa, that's not the answer. There's no such thing as eating right, even if you do all organic food. I'm sorry to tell you that. Weight loss starts in the kitchen first. Yes and no. Vanilla, is it? Yeah. Actually, that's not really true because of the fact, our food in this country is becoming all but nutritionally bankrupt. Let's take an orange, which we all consider pretty healthy. If you took an orange from 30 years ago, today you've got to eat about 6 oranges to equal the nutrition of 1 orange. So that doesn't hold up anymore. We've so over-farmed our fields. We've not turned the crops over. We've used herbicides and pesticides and nitrates and phosphates to grow these huge quantities of food, but the nutritional values have crashed. That's the medical syndrome I discovered. Toxins driven by nutritional deficiency, even if you eat healthy. That's why these researchers, 70% of what the people took didn't even come from the United States, because they went to areas in the world that still had huge amounts of nutrition in the food that we were consuming. No, you're kidding yourself if you think that you're going to just go and you're going to get rid of junk food and you're going to eat healthy. It's not going to work. Sorry to tell you. Okay, so what about, who else? I see now, so we will have to purchase these exotic foods. Elena, you don't have to do anything. Elena, don't you have to eat? Let me explain something to you. You're buying a month's worth of food. You're going to probably spend about what you spent last month on organic foods from the grocery store. Only 30% of what you're going to spend is going to be at your grocery store. The other 70% will pay for a big portion of these superfoods around the world. But also, I didn't get a chance to finish, Elena, with all due respect. Maintenance. How simple is maintenance? The exotic foods for breakfast. 2 normal meals. And then every couple months do another 48 hours. So you don't do the intense program forever. So the exotic foods. But why? Let me ask you something, Elena. We have the proof. In essence, these exotic foods would represent the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint of view. Why wouldn't you put it in your body at least once a day? That's what I do every day. This morning, I had the exotic foods from around the world for breakfast. I just had a normal lunch, and I'm going to have dinner tonight. I'm actually going out to dinner with my wife. We live a normal life. It's initially because what you want to do, you need to detox your body, whether you know it or not, and doing regular food and not eating. No, it doesn't work. There's never been a study on any diet ever up until now that removed even a gram of a toxin from our bodies. That's why they're shrinking. That's why when you look at someone like my friend's daughter, look at how much she shrank look at that, 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face, look at her arms, look at her body. Now you can think it's photoshopped, I guess. Do whatever you want to do. But you're absolutely deluded if you think that diets work long term. Here's Medicare. Medicare search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. This is Medicare, not me saying this. Listen, pay attention to everybody. Our researchers reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of diets and calorie-restricted diets to assess whether any of these diets is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. This is not my opinion. You're kidding yourselves. You are if you're on keto, paleo, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, carnivore, CAB. I don't care what it is. None of them work long-term. None of them. Well, unless you think gaining back 2/3 of what you lost is a good program. Nothing I'm sharing with you is my opinion. I don't want you to believe me. But if you go to the website, you get to see the medical proof. The coaching is free. ABBA blog, 100% free. No charge for coaching. You're going to buy food. You can find out about that by going to the New Health Conversation. Look what it says right above there in black. Can you read that? Free coaching. It's free. Why wouldn't you go there? Because we're not going to contact you if you go there. But if you like what you see, then you get a coach. Free. The whole time. Free, 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 free. Okay? Again, Luke Vita, the coaches will show you how to buy directly those foods, and then they're going to coach you on how to do it. So where do you get the exotic foods? Hopefully I answered that for you. Lupe Valdez. I didn't mean to mispronounce your name. I hate it when people, look, we're at 9,400 likes. Come on, everybody, tap on the screen. Let's get to 10,000. Are you all enjoying this content? Are you or aren't you? Well, that Kushik Mitra, that's great. We're not surviving very well. Do you realize right now, I'm going to share something with you in the United States. It's now estimated that 92% of the people in the United States are metabolically unhealthy if they have 3 of these 5 factors. If they're overweight, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, high triglycerides. To give you an idea how catastrophic that is now of the healthcare budget in the United States, the total budget is about $4.5 trillion. Got it? 25% now is metabolic, what they call metabolic dysfunction. Again, if you have 3 of these factors, overweight, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, high triglycerides. Those are all lifestyle diseases. That's now representing, in 1964, less than 5% of the budget was metabolic dysfunction. We're bankrupting the world with what we're doing. My God, we have 1 billion people worldwide clinically obese, not just overweight. And you know what they said in the study done by the Lancet, considered the #1 medical journal in the world? They said making obesity the leading form of malnutrition in the world. How's that working? So any of you that think you're going to go down to, and I shop at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's but not because it's that much better nutritionally, it's because it's less polluted. You can think whatever you can think. But go to the beach this weekend or tomorrow or go to the lake. Look at America. Look at a picture of people on the beaches in 1970 and look at you're going to go and see them in person or just Google the beach in 2024 or 2025. We've been so deluded. And I know with all due respect, you're following all these influences that are, they're medical doctors and they're chiropractors and dietitians and nutritionists and workout people and fitness coaches. And it's just a joke. Not one of them have one shred of medical evidence, and yet the majority of you, you're going to go back to whatever you're doing, keto, but you don't believe me. I don't want you to believe me. But what you hopefully would believe is 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. Or not. Yeah, wonderful, Jewel. That's terrific. I really hope all of you, yeah, you can go to the New Health Conversation. They're all typing it in there for you now. Google the New Health Conversation, and you see it right there in blue. Look, what more can I do for all of you? Please put it in the chat. I'd love for you to share this. I'd love for you to tell people about this is a movement. We'd love all of you to join for free. It doesn't cost you anything to join our movement, the New Health Conversation. I know I'm crazy, and some of you I probably make crazy because you want me to get to the point and talk faster. I'm a scientist. Sorry, I'm going to lay it out the scientific method. Here's the proof. What we have that nobody else has is real medical proof. Do you have that with what you're doing? I'd love for anybody to put it in the chat for me. Can anybody name any of the diets that you're on where they have, yes, I am help? I'm not quite sure. I think what you mean is I want or need help. Is that what you're saying? D number 8? And D number 8, did you hear how I explained what they all did? I mean, look at this, everybody. This is typical. 40 pounds and 52 inches in 30 days. He's an older guy. He wasn't working out at the gym. No one was allowed to exercise. But look at his lab work. That's what I want you to concentrate on. Look at his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124. By the way, my handle on TikTok is already, it's at the New Health Conversation. I think I have 1,400 videos there for all of you to see. I only deal in medical proof. I don't give you opinions. People want to come on and they want to argue with me. But the problem is they're arguing with peer-reviewed human trial studies, which are irrefutable medical evidence. They've already been scrutinized by the top medical people in the world. And then someone said, oh, it's a hoax because of this? Really? This is the #1 women's magazine in the world called Women's World. It goes over 5 million women. This is the cover story. It's a news story. You don't advertise in this. So over 50 protein miracle. I coach both of these women. The daughter is a nurse. She's lost 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom, who's 80 years old, lost 90 pounds in 9 months, and they both have kept it off for 3 years. This is a news story. This is not an advertisement. And inside is the news story itself. I'm going to show it to you here in just a second. Hold on, everybody. And you can, as a matter of fact, it's sold out. It came out June 9th. I think it's sold out on all the newsstands. I think you can maybe still order it online. What the hell? Let me get this. Where's the thing? Oh, I thought I had the article. Now I do. Look at this, everybody. This is a 2-page news story, New Protein Miracle Diet. Actually, it doesn't have that much to do with the protein, but that's what they called it, the magazine. The magazine wrote that. Now, the reason the magazine picked this, it's the only diet, weight loss, health program in the world with 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Nobody else has one. You're falling for all this nonsense. It's not your fault, because what's the alternative? Before you came on this podcast today, what's your alternative? I'd love for anybody to tell me what diet you're on, or your experience, how you lost weight and gained it all back, or you're sick and tired of being unhealthy, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Look at us. There's your answer. Look at the blood work. That's what you want to concentrate on. And then let me show you Andy, a younger guy, 45 pounds and 60 inches in a month. Look at not just his A1C from 7.9 to 6.2. Look at his LD, his bad cholesterol went from 120 to 59 in a month. What are you all doing? Why aren't you rushing to the website? Oh, the green-eyed cat. Okay, it's not what I'm saying, it's what I'm showing here. Hold on, just give me a second. What we're talking about is this green-eyed cat. We're talking about this revolutionary new medical breakthrough for weight loss. It involves no products. It involves only food and a completely different way of eating food. I'm going to explain it to you right now so you understand. So the problem is, green-eyed cat, that probably if you're on a diet, any diet out there now is some form of counting calories. This is the anti-diet, nothing to do with counting calories. And it was invented by the top weight loss, nutrition physiologists in the world who have no products. They're scientists. What they did was put new food groups together and then teach people how to eat in a completely different way. But let me ask you something, green-eyed cat. How long would you give yourself to lose 21 pounds? Pick any diet you want, any exercise program, etc. I'm going to still explain it to you here in a moment. The key why diets fail is you're all focusing, and I believe Green-Eyed Cat, probably you too, on counting calories. But there's a big flaw in that. Your body, my body, no one's body has any idea what a calorie is. So counting calories, you might as well be counting sheep, because your body doesn't know what a calorie is. What keeps us alive is one simple principle, and that is the body runs on one thing. It's not calories. It runs on nutrition. So Green-Eyed, what the researchers proved is when you go on diets, you lower the amount of food you're consuming, you're lowering the amount of nutrition, that triggers the starvation mode in the brain, and the brain begins to convert your muscles into fuel, one of the most unhealthy things you could ever do. What happens ultimately is you slow down to almost nothing on the weight loss, then you plateau, you give up, you come off the diet, you gain everything back. I mean, right now, they're projecting, I got it right here, that this is from Johns Hopkins Medical School. Study predicts obesity apocalypse. Those are those words. By 2030, in 4.5 years, 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese. So counting calories is dead, finished. So the researchers said, wait a minute. We think the solution would be, can we find foods, the researchers did this, was to have higher levels of nutrition and still lower quantities of food. So 30% of what you would get, 30% of what she did in order to lose 21 pounds and 38 inches in a month, she got a grocery list that the researchers put together of proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But instead of giving her calorie amounts, for the first time ever, they gave her serving sizes. Now remember, these researchers were calculating how much nutrition you needed in order to run your heart, your kidney, your brain, all of that stuff, right? But what about the other 70%? The other 70% comes from these exotic foods from around the world who other researchers, not the ones who created this, they don't have anything to do with these foods. These other researchers had gone to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small amounts of food. So only 30% of the food you'd buy from your grocery store is from North America. The other 70% comes from these exotic foods from around the world. So now they had the foods, but now they needed and they created a new scientific method of consuming food. 5 days a week, you and her, you'd have 4 meals a day. You start with these exotic foods for breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and outrageous, but a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods from around the world. So unlike diets, it wasn't based on calories, it was only based on one principle. Can we give you enough nutrition and give it to you in a very specific way over a very specific time frame? That's called protein pacing. And you would learn this because you can see right above her in blue, it says free coaching. We mean free coaching, no gimmicks. You've never done anything like this before. We got coached, all right? So 5 days a week, you're doing 4 meals a day. That's called protein pacing. 2 days a week. Now remember, all what I'm telling you is only till you get your weight off. Our goal is to get you to maintenance and show you how to stay there for the rest of your life. So 2 days a week, she did something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not fasting. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world, but this time she was eating 8 times a day. Yep, she was eating about every hour and a half. No one was hungry. They had people doing this away 400 or 500 pounds. They weren't hungry because it was never based on calories. See, that's the whole flaw in the whole system of all of you counting calories. It's like the most ridiculous thing ever. No, she wasn't allowed to exercise. She wore a Fitbit to prove she didn't exercise. Now, the thing I want you to concentrate on is that they measured water. She lost no water weight, but instead of losing any lean muscle, which I explained to you before happens on every diet, and that's why you slow your metabolism down, you gain everything back, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle and no exercise allowed. None of the people I'm showing you were allowed to exercise. And maintenance is really simple. It's these exotic foods for breakfast, 2 meals, and then regular meals, and then about once every couple months do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast. That's it. And they kept the weight off. So Annie, did you hear? Speak faster, explain it. So slow. Okay, Annie, did you understand what I just said? Annie, did you hear what I said? Do you understand or don't you? Speak faster. You're explaining it so slow. Well, do you want a real solution or do you want something that's a bunch of nonsense? I'm a scientist. I'm speaking as fast as I can speak to get all the information on. So let me know if you heard everything I said. But also you get to go to the website. It's free to go there. We won't contact you. There's a 20-minute video explaining exactly in more detail about what I was telling you about. But more importantly, on the website, there's nothing to buy there. But there's an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher in the world, a long podcast where he'll explain to you why you'd be foolish to do anything other than this after they're 40. And they don't have any products. So it's not like they're promoting a product. They don't have any products, right? So who else would like to ask me a question? So Annie, I need to know if that made sense, if you were able to understand. I mean, you can go as fast as you want and do any of these diets that are absolute miserable failures, and that's why 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese in 4.5 years. I'm not trying to be, I'm who I am. I go as fast as I can go to get the medical. Let me explain to all of you again, or for the first time, why calorie counting is, from a medical perspective, doesn't work. The biggest failing of the calories in, calories out formula is it ignores that the body adjusts its control systems when calorie intake is reduced. So while calories in, calories out formula can support people achieving weight loss initially, the reduction in energy intake ensures the lost weight will be regained and more. So from a medical standpoint of view, if you're counting calories, it's ridiculous. Why are you counting calories? It doesn't work. It doesn't work long term. Do you all understand that now? This is the breakthrough that everybody's been looking for 100 years. They've been trying to figure out, weight loss. I mean, we've gone in 1964, 15% of America overweight, to now in 2030, they're saying we're going to be at 86% overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. That's like a 500% increase, or almost, in that time frame. And yet you're all going to go back and probably you get frustrated with me and you're going to count calories. And I didn't talk. I mean, I've been on this now for what, almost 2 straight hours. Sometimes I guess maybe I need a pep. Maybe I need to go have some more lunch or whatever it is, right? Oh, can you give some examples of exotic foods? Yeah. Well, let's give you a little bit definition of food. The only reason we eat food is not for the food itself. So let's get that out of the way just for a moment. What you care about is the nutrition that's inside your food. So the exotic foods, in some cases, where they drank it as a tea, or maybe do it as a water, or you do it as a soup. We'll teach all of you that, right? But I'll give you one example of what's not in our food in enough quantity in North America, and that is what's called trace ionic minerals. Are you with me, Ann Joy? Now, a trace ionic mineral, we need 70 of them. In the best organic food, here's an example of, like, you're going to go and buy healthy food. The best organic food that's been measured, you get 20 out of 70 of these trace ionic minerals. So, Ann Joy, no matter how much you eat, you're still getting 20. The researchers found a source of these trace ionic minerals that have all 70 trace ionic minerals. And what are trace ionic minerals? They're things like gold and silver and zinc and beryllium and boron and selenium and molybdenum, to give you an example. So that's just one example. Something else that you would want in an exotic food are what are called naturally occurring vitamins. Now, I know you're all on supplements. You're taking pills. They're made in a laboratory. That's very low efficiency for your body. The researchers again found a food group that had 22 naturally occurring vitamins. We're designed as human beings to get our nutrition, excuse me, from food. That's the main reason to eat it. When you have hunger, it's because you don't have enough nutrition. It's not because you don't have enough calories. Excuse me. So those are just 2 examples of the, let's call them exotic nutrients. I'll give you another example. So some of the nutrients come from Mongolia, okay? And that particular ingredient or nutrient massively lowers stress in the body. I can tell you this, Genghis Khan gave this nutrient to his soldiers to go into battle, and that's why there were such ferocious fighters, because it calmed them down. How many of you would like to lower stress in their body? So there's another example for you. The coaches can go over all that with you. It's hard for me just on TikTok to really lay out everything. We're not hiding anything. That's why it's free coaching. And the coaches aren't there to sell you, convince you, whatever. You go to that website, look at the medical proof. You're going to convince yourself and you're going to want to get a coach, okay? Let's see. So Android, does that help? I gave you 3 examples right there of exotic nutrients and foods, okay? Who else would like to ask me a question? We're at 9,700. Come on, everybody. We can tap on there and get to 10,000 if you like the content. Don't tap if you don't like the content. And don't, again, think for some reason you're going to figure this out, because you're not. How could we possibly think that with 86% of Americans slated to be overweight and obese in 4.5 years, that diets are working? Go to the beach today. That's all I can say. Go to the beach. Go to the mall. Look at America. Look what's happening. Look how sad it is. And I can really address this, and Joy and everybody else, for one reason. My own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I never knew her thin. I never knew her healthy. And I loved her. She was awesome. And 24 years ago, she called me up one day before I became a researcher. She said, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything to spend one day thin. I said, wow, Mom, that's really cool. Not realizing that 6 months later, my mom died of a massive heart attack and stroke. My mother dieted herself to death, in my opinion. I hate diets if you haven't figured that out yet. And what was so frustrating for me for 22 of my 23 years, and I'm not trying to brag, I'm just telling you the facts. I've written 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the entire world. I did 20 shows on public broadcasting, interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America, and did over 1,500 live lectures around the world in universities and hospitals. Heck, they even flew me to China. I also spoke twice at Autism One in Chicago, the largest autism conference in the world. But for 22 of my 23 years in the medical world, all of that, you know what it meant to the medical world? 0. Why? Because there were no peer-reviewed human trial medical studies, of which we now have 10. You can go see the studies. If you go to the New Health Conversation, they're all there. Which photo? Dude, what are you talking about? When was this photo taken? Must be at least 40 years ago. That was 8 years ago. She's kept the weight off for 8 years. Is that what you're referring to, the picture on? Jewel, Weight Watchers is proof that what we are doing isn't working. They're still in business. Jewel, I couldn't agree with you more. Actually, I heard they went out of business like a month ago, didn't they? They declared bankruptcy or something. And now what is Weight Watchers doing? They're giving people the shots. So that's all you need to know. My mother went to Weight Watchers for 40 years. I saw her, she'd lose 4 ounces in a week and they'd give her a gold star and she'd come home and think it was great. I'm not a big fan of Weight Watchers. It's just a diet. The point thing, it's just nonsense. It's about counting calories again and again and again. So, Alex, so again, Alex, please clarify. You're talking about the photo on the screen? Because we got a whole bunch more. I mean, this girl here, that's 35 pounds in 37 days with no exercise. And see, Alex, what we have that nobody else does, we have 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies backing up everything that I'm showing you there. Or look at Curtis here, this older guy. He lost 40 pounds and 52 inches in 30 days. Alex, have you ever seen anything like that? It's not photoshopped. And then look at his blood work, his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124 in 30 days. It's all backed up by medical studies. I don't have to make any claims. It's right there. We have the medical proof, right? So let me come back over here again. And then this is the daughter of a friend of mine. That's 8 years old, that picture. She lost 60 pounds in 3 months. That's 5 pounds a week for 3 straight months. People can believe whatever you want. But when we have people like Medicare saying, Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments, diets are not the answer. Medicare researchers looked at the long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether any diet or calorie counting is effective treatment for obesity. What they found is 2/3 of people who went on any diet or counted calories gained back more weight than they lost. That's Medicare saying that. See, I don't give opinions. People want to take me on sometimes, and they want to give me opinions, but they don't have any facts. At least as far as I've seen so far, right? So again, Alex, I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. I'd love for you to clarify. And Jewel, you're right. Yeah, they're still in business. I mean, that's a really interesting point that you're making, Jewel. if any of these things worked with effectively, we're going to have 86% of America overweight or obese in 4.5 years. If any of these Weight Watchers, any of them worked, they'd have $1 trillion company. They don't work. Do you get it? They don't work. Not my opinion. Every study is saying, I mean, including even, I've got it here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. What did I do with it? Hold on, everybody. Harvard Medical School. I mean, when you got Harvard Medical School saying stop counting calories, they said most people have been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. That's what you're all been told. That's the hogwash you're being sold. Cutting calories, specifically 3,500, you lose about a pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. They went on to say the idea of a calorie in and calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. That's exactly what these researchers did, and they don't have anything to do with Harvard. Now, all of you can have your opinions, you can think whatever you want. And I would say this, go to the mall today, go to the beach, go to the lake. Look at America. Look at the commercials on TV. How many commercials are there for type 2 diabetes? Every person in the pictures, they're overweight. Every person. And yet, thin people are also getting diabetes as well. I mean, what are we doing? We're going to bankrupt ourselves is what we're going to do. I mean, you've got to understand, right now we're spending 4.5 T with $1 trillion on healthcare. You think it's going to get better when 86% of America's overweight, obese, and pre-diabetic? Maybe you don't care about that. Maybe you just think, oh, that's somewhere in the future. No, it's right now. 2 years ago, they had insulin shortages, and more people are treated. We got 50% of our kids overweight, and about 25% of them have type 2 diabetes, which didn't exist in kids 35 years ago. What are we doing to our next generations? It's not my job. My job is to make you aware of what's available. You do whatever you want. But you can go to that website for free and see the medical proof, including an interview with the number one weight loss nutrition physiologist in the entire world, who's worked with Navy SEALs and Green Berets and Olympians and NFL football players and CrossFit. And they didn't let anybody exercise because they didn't want exercise to be an outlier. Otherwise, you said, well, she lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, they weren't allowed to exercise. They actually wore Fitbits to prove they didn't exercise. And it's the same woman. Look at her face, look at her arms, look at her body, look at how much she shrank. Now, you want to see a really extreme example? Look at this, everybody. She lost 200 pounds in about a year. Where's the loose skin? Where's the loose skin, everybody? Now, you can think it's photoshopped. You can think whatever you want to think. We don't have to do that kind of stuff because we're the only ones on all social media and all across all the platforms with real peer-reviewed medical studies. What are you all following? You're following opinions, including opinions on here. Stop following opinions, and we now have the science. Science has really, really done us amazing things over the life. I mean, something as simple as the wheel. Do you know how that changed civilization? The wheel? Penicillin? I mean, it just, I say this to people, okay? I say, just because it wasn't invented doesn't mean it wasn't possible. When you're looking at a market where you've got essentially 1 billion people that are clinically obese, not just overweight, somebody's going to figure this out. And they did. And they don't have any products to sell. That's what's so great about it. They have nothing to sell. It's food and a new, well, they did patent, protein pasting, by the way, is patented by the U.S. Patent Office. So who else would like to ask me a question? Yeah, life-changing, exactly. Oh, you're talking about April. You were probably talking about her, right? April, that's her name. She's the friend. She's the daughter of a friend of mine. 60 pounds in 3 months. Or, I mean, you can look at, I mean, I think this is pretty amazing. This older gentleman, 40 pounds and 52 inches. That's 10 pounds a week. Have any of you ever done that on a diet, ever? Now, you can think it's fake, but it's not. So you can make a decision based on your skepticism. You're going to go to a diet. Maybe you're going to lose a half a pound a week and you're going to gain everything back and more. We all know that. And yet we're giving you the option. You can see it in blue right there. Look at this. I forgot to tell you about this. I coached those two women. That's Women's World, the #1 women's magazine in the world. That was June 9th of this year, so that's what, 12 days ago. The daughter's 57 years old. She lost 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom is 80. She lost 90 pounds in 9 months, and they both kept it off for 3 years. What, you think you get on the cover of that if it's fake? Here's the magazine right here. Here it is. Look at what they said on the cover. Over 50, protein miracle. I'm going to really bring it in close. Hopefully you can read that. Powerful new eating pattern can take off weight faster than anything else you've tried. It's not an advertisement. It's a news story for them. As a matter of fact, they wrote up the story in here, #1, with the researcher who created this, or he and his team did, and then also a big story about, let me find it here. Look at this 2-page story about these two women who had this transformation, a mom and daughter, and the mom's 80 and she lost 90 pounds in 9 months. At 80 years old? Oh, by the way, when she started, she couldn't climb a flight of stairs. Now she's playing pickleball 3 times a day. She's swimming 3 times a week and walks 4 miles a day. She's on no medications. That's all I can tell you. You read the story. Go. I think it's sold out in all the newsstands. I think you can still get it online. But really, do you think you get on the cover of this as this is fake? As my critics love to come on and tell me about, oh, they have all these opinions. It's really funny. Because when they're taking me on, they're taking on science. You know, it's like, oh, do you still think the world's flat? Do you not think we landed on the moon? I know there's people that don't believe that. I mean, whatever. It's all good. But when they take me on, they're taking on real science, and yet they're relying on these. They're nice people, these influencers. See them on across social media platforms, but they don't have any proof, and you're following them. Why? Why are you following people that are giving you opinions with no facts when this is the solution? Kristen, that's the least amount people typically lose, 5 pounds a week. I mean, what do you want to do? Do you want to count calories? Do you want to do paleo or keto or Mediterranean or time-restricted eating or, carb recycling or count your macros or diet, exercise, 10,000 steps, drink more water? None of it works. It's almost silly. Wow, we hit 10,000 likes. Thank you, everybody. Keep going. Lady in red and April, Jewel. Oh, yeah, I know, Jewel. Isn't that amazing? I'm so happy change the lady. I'll show you her again, Jewel. Look at her. Now, she looked pretty happy before, but you can see that confidence. Where's the loose skin, Jewel? Where's the loose skin? I mean, she didn't have surgery. I mean, now I'm going to show everybody what happens if you, none of these people, by the way, exercise. Now I'm going to show you what happens if you exercise. This is a surfer who works out every day, gym, surfing, etc. Day 1, you can see, look at the stomach, abdomen area. Pretty good. Now, when it says day 5, that's 4 days in. 4 days, look at the change already occurring. And then look at day 12. That's the morning of day 12. So 11 days, look at that transformation. Who thinks that's Photoshopped? Please, I'm not going to get mad if you think it's Photoshopped. It's all cool. I'd love for anybody to tell me. But Jewel, what do you think about that? That shows what happens if you do work out. He was already in really good shape, and he surfs. He lives in Costa Rica. And before you, I'll spring it on you. Before you think we Photoshopped that, I know that person. You know who that is, everybody? It's my youngest son who's 40 years old. Look at that transformation. Look at that in 11 days. You think there's anything like this on the planet? I'll wait. Please tell me in the chat. Is it you're going to tell me it's keto or Mediterranean or I'm watching my car? I'm counting my macros. Why? Why? It's not going to work long term. I mean, it's just a joke. So, again, wow, we're at 10,000 likes. That's really great. And wow, I've gone now a little bit over 2 hours. So who else would like to ask me a question before I close out this podcasts, and then I'll probably do another one. So it's 1:30, that's 3:30. I'll probably do another one, let's say about 4:30 East Coast time. So 4:30 Eastern Standard Time today, I'll do another live for all of you. So who else would like to ask me a question? You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you all for all the likes and all the love and all the. But I would also encourage you. You can share that website with anybody. It's free to the world. The New Health Conversation. Hopefully, you all see it there. And I think I had typed it before, but I'll put it over here with some of my other friends. This is the free website you all can go to because we're on multiple platforms, I think. Or again, this gets recorded, so other people will see it from around the world. So who else would like to ask? Oh, how do I achieve these goals? Andy Bender Wiswell. So Andy, just so I'm clear, did you get a chance to hear the explanation of how they did that? Because it's not a diet, it's not about counting calories, it's completely revolutionary, and it's backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. There is no other weight loss, nutrition, exercise program in the world with peer-reviewed human trial studies, except this one that took 40 years. It took researchers 40 years, 100 studies, thousands of people to figure this out, and they're rated the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. And what's so clear about it, Andy, okay, I'm going to explain it to you right now then. I'm explaining to you first who invented it. They're ranked the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They have no products, they don't have a company, they're researchers. So what they did after 40 years, they said, of all the thousands of people in the diets we did, there was never one that worked long term. And sadly, 2/3 of people who went on any diet ended up gaining more weight than they lost. And sadly, the weight that you've lost on any diet or anybody, 25 to 40% is lean muscle. And therein lies the problem why we got so many people. They're projecting now in 4.5 years, 86% of Americans will be overweight or obese, okay? So people have gone on these diets, they've lost weight, and they've ended up gaining more weight than they lost. So the flaw in all of this, until now, was the researchers said counting calories is ridiculous. Your body has no idea, Andy, what a calorie is. As a matter of fact, I'd love for you to put the definition of a medical definition of what a calorie is. If you know it, it's okay. I didn't know what it was 24 years ago. And in a year of podcasts, I've had 7 people give me the actual medical definition of what a calorie is. So the researchers said, no, your body doesn't know what a calorie is. What your body cares about is only one thing, one principle. And that is we have a minimum amount of this that we need or we would die. That's called nutrition. When you go on a diet, what you're really doing, think about it. You're reducing the amount of food you're consuming, which means you're reducing the amount of nutrition. When that happens, the brain thinks you're starving to death, because you actually are from a nutritional standpoint, and it immediately shuts down fat, the fuel inside your fat cell, and turns to your muscles for fuel. That then encases 2 of the most unhealthy things you could ever do to yourself. First of all, yes, it's slowing down your metabolism. That's why the weight loss stops, plateau, you come off the diet. But something you probably didn't know, when you lose weight by losing lean muscle, which is the case on every diet out there, you slow down your own immune system. So Andy, what you're actually doing to yourself, you're actually making yourself unhealthy by going on these diets, by counting calories. So the researchers said, we think we can solve this. So they put together, the researchers, food groups that you would go to the grocery store and buy, but only 30% of what you're going to consume in a month you'd buy at your grocery store. And they give you a list of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of giving you calorie amounts, they're giving you serving sizes. Very important distinction. Because what the researchers wanted to do, they wanted to be able to give you less food by quantity, by bulk, but give you more nutrition. So that's why only 30% of the. Now, why is that? Why not just do organic in North America? Because our food in this country is all but nutritionally bankrupt, whether you knew it or not. So the key was these researchers who have no products found other researchers who for 20 years recognized the food in North America was becoming all but nutritionally bankrupt. And they had physically gone, these researchers, to Russia, to Mongolia, to Tibet, to South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. So now, Andy, they had both 30% from the grocery store, 70% from these exotic foods from around the world. So if you took your grocery list from last month, what you spent, 30% only 30% of which is spent last month, you'll spend at your grocery store, and the other 70% will pretty much pay for these exotic foods around the world. Okay? Now they had the ingredients, but what did they need to do next? They invented a completely new way of eating, a scientific approach to eating, where 5 days a week you'd have 4 meals a day. That's what she did. And she started with the exotic foods around the world. That was breakfast, no food from the grocery store list, lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a fourth meal after dinner, these exotic foods. So don't go down the road about, oh my gosh, they're eating more, they're going to gain weight. No, that's totally untrue. That's called protein pacing. Now, the pacing they found was critical because it wasn't just the nutrition. It was when they got it, over what period of time, so that the body could use it in the most efficient way. Got it? Now, 2 days a week, she did something, now this will spin all of you, called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, no food in the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world. But this time, she ate 8 times a day. You heard me. She was eating about every hour and a half. Again, back to protein pacing. They were spreading the nutrition. It didn't matter how much food she was consuming. It only mattered about how much nutrition she was getting over what period of time, and there was no food from the grocery store. So that's why now she had 8 meals a day, but all from these exotic foods around the world. Well, you can see the results. She lost 21 pounds, 38 inches in a month. But here's the thing that should shock you. They measured water. She lost no water weight, and with no exercise allowed, any of the people, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle in 30 days with no exercise. How about that? Next thing, that's not the end of it. The key to this is maintenance. That picture's 8 or 9 years old, and she's been able to keep the weight off now for 8 or 9 years. In my case, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. So what we teach you, or what the coaches teach you, because you get a coach for free. The coaching's absolutely free. There's no gimmicks. They'll teach you how to maintain it. I'll tell you how simple maintenance is. This morning, I had the exotic foods for breakfast. I've already had lunch, and I'm going to have dinner tonight. And then but I do about every 8 weeks or less, I do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast. It makes me feel, not for weight loss anymore, but for detox. Because at the end of the day, what this really is, it's a detox with medical proof. Nobody else in the world has peer-reviewed human trial studies proving detoxification. What I mean by that is that the body, this protocol helped the body to get rid of what? Herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and flame retardants we're all storing in our body. I don't know if you all saw the study from 5 weeks ago. They're now finding microplastic in our brain and in our coronary arteries. Well, what else we're finding in the body is herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and all these chemicals that we're coming into contact with on a daily basis. And we're accumulating them in our fat cells. If you look at her on day 1, you see the bulge in her stomach. It's not because she's pregnant. That's the fat cells that are storing the chemicals to protect us from the chemicals, and they're expanding. Don't let anybody tell you burn fat. That's a fat lie. Either through exercise or through dieting. It doesn't happen. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and those fat cells can expand or contract. How many of you right now are really disappointed? It's not just how much weight you've gained, but the amount of fat you have in your body. It's not your fault. Your body is storing those chemicals in your fat cells. And when we look at people like my friend's daughter, where she loses 60 pounds in 3 months, look at her face, look at her arms, look at her midsection, that's not Photoshop. That's the detox. As the chemicals leave the fat cell shrinks. It's not, we know, they have the proof. They proved it. The medical researchers, they proved it. That's what's so different about this than anything else any of you are following, trying, thinking about. They don't work, and they got not one. You're following these influencers that they're giving you opinions. They don't have any facts. I know I get really animated, but I can't help myself, right? Yeah, Andy, isn't that incredible? And then, Andy, let me show you something else. This is an older gentleman. Look at him. How about 40.8 pounds? Andy, 40.8 pounds and 52 inches. Look at his stomach. Least important part, look at his lab work. Do you see it up there, Andy? Look at his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124 in 30 days and no exercise allowed. Just tell me if you've ever seen anything like that at all. Andy or Ann Joy. Have you ever seen anything like it? The accessibility, and were you listening to me? The exotic foods, the whole program. You go to the New Health Conversation, you see the medical proof, scroll down and get a free. Those coaches don't sell you anything. But don't think it's just you get the food and that. No, they coach you for free because you've never done anything like this before. But the coaching's free, including your initial consultation. Let me explain something to everybody. We have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids. We have people with goiter and hyperthyroidism and whatever. But also a man with a heart transplant. We have people with a kidney transplant. We have people with no gallbladders, and we're not treating, curing, preventing, or diagnosing any medical conditions. All we're doing is sharing with you what's in the medical studies, the absolute medical proof, not a sales gimmick, not a hyperbole. So just to let you know, enjoy. The key, go look at the medical proof if you like what you see, because we won't contact you. Enjoy. We're not going to contact you if you go there, be clear. So don't think you go there and you're going to get a phone call from us. We don't do that. We're too busy. We want to let the medical proof speak for itself. Then you decide if you want to coach. They'll go over everything with you, show you how to get the food list, and show you how to order those exotic foods, and then coach you. Because you don't know how to do this. Trust me. I know. I got coached. It was pretty shocking to me how different this was. Not that it was hard, but it was totally different than anything I'd ever done before. Look at the results, right? So who else would like to ask me a question before I close out this podcast? Anybody? So Ann Joy, does that make sense? Ann Joy and Andy, let me tell you 2 other things that are really important, okay? Just bear with me for another minute or so. So take whatever you spent on food last month. You got it, both of you? 30% of that, you're going to buy your food from the grocery store, the list developed by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world, your proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. Only 30%. So from what you spent last month, you got 70% left. So that 70% goes towards those exotic foods around the world. Many people feel that covers their total, whatever they were spending on groceries, they're not spending anymore. At worst, maybe they're spending another $100 in the month, but look at the results. But here's the thing about those exotic foods that you get, Ann Joy and Andy, 100% from them, money back guarantee in the first 30 days. If you go to the website, it'll say free, it'll say 100% money back guarantee. That's what they're talking about, are those, because we don't sell you anything, so we can't refund. Now, your grocery store, they're probably not going to give you your money back on the 30% you spent. Now, nothing's 100%. I wouldn't be that dumb to say something like that. But this is pretty amazing. I mean, do you think she wants a refund? Her name's Kristen, 21 pounds, 38 inches in a month? Or do you think that Julie, 35 pounds in 37 days? You can almost see she's in amazement when she was taking the picture. She's like blown away. And then obviously my friend's, that's his daughter. I'm not going to Photoshop that. 60 pounds in 3 months. 60 pounds in 3 months. Andy, Ann Joy, is that just not crazy? Oh, Andy, that's wonderful. We invite you to do that. And Andy, let me explain to you. Okay, Susan, basically you're going to spend what you did last month on food. This is only food. There's no supplements. There's no products. It's 30% you'd buy from the grocery store and 70% from these exotic foods from around the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, that represent huge amounts of nutrition in small quantities of food. It depends on what your food budget is, but most people say they're spending, with 30% from the grocery store and 70% on this, they're spending about what they spent last month, okay? Susan, does that answer your question, I hope? Well, I can't believe I've gone almost 2.5 hours. It just really, my voice, plus I need to go get my mail and whatever today. It's now 3:30 on the East Coast. I would say I'll come back on in about an hour, let's say 4:30 on the East Coast, to do another podcast, invite some friends or family or whatever you want to do. But in the meantime, go to the website. We're not going to contact you if you go there. The New Health Conversation, you can see it right above there, right? So Ann Joy, Andy, Rosalind, everybody else that's been on, are you all? There's no products, Rosalind, no products. None, zero. This is food. And this was put together. Well, look, let me just go back. This is like the minimum that men and women are losing, about 5 pounds a week on this. It's not a diet. It's not about calorie counting. It's completely different than anything you've ever done before. So, Rosalind, how long would you give yourself to lose 20 pounds on any diet you could pick? But there's no products here. It's food. Literally, 100% of what you would consume on this is food. 30% you'd buy from your grocery store. You actually get a grocery list. And then the other 70% come from these exotic foods from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. Now, the reason that's important, because the whole concept behind diets, by counting calories, has been completely debunked. It's nonsense. It doesn't work. And 2/3 of people who are counting calories are gaining more weight than they lost, whether you believe it or not. Oh, Andy, no problem. So, Rosalind, let me stay with you for a moment. Now, what the researchers who invented this, Rosalind, they're the top weight loss nutrition researchers in the world. And they really, after 40 years, 100 studied, thousands of people, they prove why diets don't work. And that's because people are counting calories. The problem with that is your body has no idea what a calorie is. Why you're counting calories, I have no idea. So the whole key to this was one principle that the body works on. There's a minimum amount of what you need in order to be alive, and it's not calories, it's nutrition. So the researchers knew this, and they said, wait a minute, we're going to find foods with large amounts of nutrition with smaller quantities. So 30% of what you would get, you'd buy from your grocery store. Foods, proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of giving you calorie amounts, you get serving sizes. Okay, got that. Now the other 70% comes from other researchers who had gone literally, Rosalind, around the world to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with massive amounts of nutrition in small quantities of food. So now they had the ingredients. Now, what did she do? 5 days a week, this will blow your mind based on diets. She had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods from around the world. That was breakfast, no food from the grocery store. Lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods from around the world. That's called protein pacing. Now, notice the word pacing. This is critically important. It wasn't just that she was getting all this nutrition. It was when she was eating it. You'd get a schedule. The coaches, which are free, would go over all that with you. It's like when you eat and what are the intervals between each of the meals. They go over all that with you. So 5 days a week, 4 meals a day, that's called protein pacing. 2 days a week, you would do, now don't get nervous when I tell you this, intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. You're essentially fasting with nutrition because you're getting very small quantities of food. Nothing from the grocery store, by the way. Only these exotic foods from around the world with these huge amounts of nutrients, okay? We had people, well, all the time, we have people that weigh 400 or 500 pounds and are not hungry because your hunger never comes from calorie counting. It only comes from the nutritional needs of your body, okay? So when you're hungry, you're not hungry for calories. You're hungry for nutrition. So you can see the results. She lost 21 pounds and 38 inches in a month. By the way, nobody was allowed to exercise. They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. And not that they're against exercise, the researchers, but they didn't want, otherwise exercise would be a factor. They said, well, they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't diet and exercise, okay? Have you got that, Rosalind? The key to this, Rosalind, is maintenance. So that picture's 8 or 9 years old. She's kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years. Rosalind, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. We teach you all that for free. Now, how simple is maintenance? You have exotic food. That's what I did this morning. My exotic food for breakfast. I just had lunch and I'm going to have dinner tonight. And then maybe every couple months, I do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast. That's it. That's how simple it is. And you get the website you can see right above her head there in blue, Rosalind, the New Health Conversation, free to go there. We don't contact you if you go there. But if you like what you see, you can scroll down and you see right above, free coaching. The coaching is free the whole time. You've never done anything like this. We had coaches. Now, the other thing I should tell you, Rosalind, 70% of the food you're buying from those researchers around the world, they give you, not us, they will give you 100% of your money back in the first month. If you don't like it, you don't have to have a reason. Because when you go to the website, it'll say 100% money back guarantee. That's what they're referring to. That's not from us, and it's not from the researchers who created this protocol. I mean, I know it sounds good to be true for everybody, but that's the reality. Those are the facts. We don't have to make up anything. It's not like you go there and, oh, well, it's $150 to coach you. No, the coaching's free. That alone should be enough to at least cause curiosity. Why not go to the website and look at the medical proof? There's an interview. Oh, I forgot to tell all of you this. There's an interview there with the #1 rated weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world, the #1 person, saying they'll never recommend any form of traditional diet with their patients ever again. Let him explain it to you. And that's it. So, where do I go? Rosalind, do you see the website right above her head in blue? Give me a yes, Rosalind. The New Health Conversation. Do you see that? Sometimes people have trouble seeing it, so I want to make sure. Oh, I'm calling it, I believe it's Rosalinda. I'm terribly sorry for mispronouncing your name. Please forgive me. I'm really a nice person. I'm very polite. I didn't see the Rosalinda. That's a beautiful name. So Rosalinda, go to the New Health Conversation and you click on, type it in Google. No, just the New Health Conversation. When you go there, you'll see all the medical proof, and then you get to decide if you like what you see, Rosalinda. Scroll down, you get a free coach. Does that make sense? Give me a yes if that makes sense. We're not going to contact you if you go there. You get to choose. You're in control of your own life, not us. So Rosalind, I'm just waiting for the yes that you understand it. We're not going to contact you. You get to choose a coach if you decide that's what you want to do. Okay, good. We got 2 yeses. Thank you very, very much. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So Rosalinda, are you a little bit excited about the possibilities here? Doesn't it? I mean, does it almost seem too good to be true? And then when I show you this is my friend's daughter. You think her life's different? Rosalinda, 60 pounds in 3 months, and she's kept it off for 8 or 9 years. Isn't that just remarkable? Oh, good, Rosalinda, that's it. But for all of you, understand we're here for all of you. We want to be, here's what we ask all of you to do. Join, it's free, there's nothing to join, but join us at the New Health Conversation. We want to change the world. I mean, Rosalinda or anybody else, or anybody, how many of you have friends that are desperate to lose weight? They're trying everything. Nothing's working. I think that's just the majority of people because diets don't work. Counting calories doesn't work. And Rosalinda, again, the coaching's free, Rosalinda, free. Free. All right, well, everybody, I need to take a break on my voice. Gosh, I'm already at 3:36. So figure about 4:30, I'll come on again and do another live. All right, everybody, I'm going to say goodbye for right now. Thank you, Jewel. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.